All right, all right, all right. We are back for another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I'm your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me on the panel is Herb Lewis, the Big Bad Wolf.
Oh,
And I'm not sure who else will be joining us, but the show must go on. Recap from this past Monday's discussion with the co-founder or one of the four founding brothers of the Black Manosphere, Muya Obsidian Ali. We covered many topics, but things went for a turn when it was mentioned that a woman has nothing to say about a man being a man. You heard it. A woman has nothing to say when it comes to telling a man to be a man. That caused an uproar, but we are moving on. Tonight, July 18th at 9 p.m., we will lead off with how has TikTok, IG, Facebook, might as well throw all of them in there, Snapchat, um, impacted your life with all the images and everyone portraying to be superstar models, exposing their bodies, twerking and rolling their asses. What goes through your mind? Number two, let me ask you this again. Are men responsible for his woman's happiness? I know a lot of times y'all say the politically correct thing. Oh, I know my worth. Um, I'm responsible for my own happiness. But that's not the stuff that's being said probably in the day to day households and homes and the bickering back and forth that a lot of the stuff is put on men on why women are not happy. Number three, who tries to over talk or talk more? Um, Men or women? Do you see this as a problem? So this is going to be interesting because you know years ago when we had talked about this subject, it was stated that women speak 20,000 words a day and men speak 7,000. But I don't know. Not recently when I looked up that stuff recently, some of y'all fellas is running y'all mouth like women. They say men talk more than women. So we're going to break that down. So it should be interesting. All right. So we're going to keep it short and simple, but it should make for an interesting conversation. Please like and share our video and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. So here we have it. What's going on? The big bad wolf. What's good? What's bad? What's different?
and just plot my escape from Alcatraz. I just need a raft. Ain't much else, man. Just just try to keep it straight and level, man. Straight and level.
Well, for me, it's just typical summer. Work a little bit, be off some days, work a little bit. But I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody that was very meaningful to my family. One of my close cousins. It's one of them cousins that he lived in Chicago. Jabali Price is my cousin. I know most of you don't know him, but my family, if they're listening, they know him. And he passed a few days ago. Uh, fought a tough fight with cancer, but he was one of those cousins that would come through every summer. Not every summer, but when we were kids, great deal of summer. So we would always look forward to him coming, spending a couple weeks. Him and his brother Jamoya, and he just passed a couple days ago. So a lot of our hearts are heavy, and just thinking like, wow, like does this ever go in? Like it just seemed like people fallen soldiers at 48, 49, and then actually today is his birthday, so he didn't make it to his 49th birthday. But rest up, cousin. We all love you. You're always gonna be in our hearts and our spirit, and I'll be heading to Chicago later on this week to pay my respects to my family, but that's pretty much how I'm at. Working a little bit, off a little bit, and just trying to get through. But I didn't realize, damn, this summer went by fast as hell. But I guess
Mhm.
as you get older, that's just how it rolls. I'm like, damn, it's almost August
Yeah.
already. It seemed like them little critters, them kids just left. Seemed like, and that was June 16th. But here you have it. They getting ready to roll back up in there. Like it just don't stop. Time isn't forever. It just keep on rolling. So I guess the valuable lesson in it all is stop putting off stuff saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow," or "I'm gonna do it in a couple days." That shit may never come, and that's
Yeah.
real. It may never
Hmm.
come. So if you're healthy and you're sound mentally, do everything you can because it's been crazy. Like the amount of deaths and just with people in their 40s and 50s, it's like, or being found at home, people checking on them, haven't heard from them, go to their house and somebody find them in their house or apartment dead. Like it's like a common trend, and it's scary. And mortality is real when you start getting in your 40s or 50s to think like,
Yeah.
man, am I gonna wake up the next day? So just be mindful of that. All right, that's my little spiel on that.
It's funny. It was funny you said that. And now that I think back, I think it was like last week, Tuesday. Um, I was where was I at? I was sitting downstairs. I was watching. It was either Gods and Generals or something. I was watching DVD, and I heard a knock at my door. Now it's not the normal knocking. I have a doorbell that rings, so anybody that generally comes by rings the doorbell. So I look. I'm like, what the hell? So I walk up to the door. There's two police officers. I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? So they were actually doing a welfare check. I'm thinking, who you doing the welfare check on? Because you clearly see that I'm functioning, I'm well. Now the grass in my backyard needs to be tended to, and that's just what it is. I haven't done anything in the last couple of months outside of go to work and just vegetate. I'm at that point now where I'm just like, you know what? When the body calls, I'm going to yield to the call. So I don't know who it was, but apparently they were looking for my neighbor next door because I spoke to him about it. He said, yeah, they were calling for me. I said, if you're going to do a welfare check on somebody, or I'm sorry, if you're going to call about somebody, at least make sure you understand that person's habits and what they do and what they don't do. Because I'm like, they had the police at my door, had me shook for half a second. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So it's this peculiar that you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's crazy. When you said they was at your door, it made me think about when you said before they was trying to
Yeah,
damn near roll up in your house. I was like, not
yeah,
again. Like, not
yeah,
again. Oh, but this
yeah,
they was just doing a check,
yeah.
but went to the wrong house.
Well, they got some bad information, and that's the problem. But and I don't, for as much flack as law enforcement officers catch, I don't always blame them for situations that go bad because they get a lot of erroneous information, and unfortunately, you have some states where, because I watch a lot of videos on this, because I'm always trying to stay up to date on this type of stuff. You have a lot of people that don't understand the laws of their state. So let's take Florida for instance. Florida is an open carry state. So you get police who get calls about somebody walking down the street with an AR-15 or AK-47. They're both semi-automatic, what they classify as assault rifles. I don't know why the dispatch officer doesn't take a few moments to tell them, is this individual pointing a gun at anybody, is shooting it, or is she shooting it? And if the answer is no, the dispatch officer simply say, hey, look, the laws in our state allow for open carry. And as long as that individual isn't doing nothing, please don't call back again. Because they're wasting time, they're wasting resources, and they're putting these officers in positions where some of these officers don't really realize what laws they should be enforcing, they shouldn't be enforcing. And then you start to get all these frivolous lawsuits that are costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars in their respective communities. And it's ridiculous, man. It really is.
Yeah, that would be a big issue. But we're gonna move along. So the main topic that we're going to start with, a lead off topic, is how has pretty much TikTok, IG, social media, Facebook, Snapchat, how has it impacted your life?
Ah, for me, it's well, one, I don't know if there's really been a downside for me. Um, I know when I ran for the various political positions I did, it allowed me to reach people I otherwise couldn't have reached. So for me, it's a tool. And I always say this about a lot of things, especially money and social media. It doesn't change you; it just makes you more who you are. So if you're the type of person that's going to be outgoing, you'll be outgoing on social media. If you're the type of person that's bombastic, you can be bombastic on social media. If you recluse, even if you get on social media, you're not going to post a lot. Some people are public with their information, so they share everything. Some people aren't, so they won't. And I'm like that. Now I'll get on social media and I'll share certain aspects of myself. But there are certain things for me that social media would never see about me. So for me, it's pretty much been uphill. It's been a good experiences. The two bad experiences have far have been far outweighed by all the good. And I don't foresee a time that I won't use social media. Just the amount of time that I spend on it now. I have been on TikTok more so than I've been on Facebook. And what I'm discovering about my use in TikTok is it's reaffirming my faith in humanity when it comes to saving animals. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. People were trying to give me the third degree about it when I said I like animals. They said, yeah, but you only have cats. I said, just because I like animals don't mean I'm going to have my house full of animals. I like cats because I can leave and go places 2 or 3 days at a time. And as long as I leave them some food and water, they're fine. You can't do that with dogs. With dogs, you have to kennel, fish, tanks, cleaning, a lot of other things. But what I have seen on TikTok that I didn't know you could do was domesticate. What was it? One lady had a deer that she domesticated, and she had the deer when the deer was a fawn, and I didn't know you could do that. So deers, raccoons, possums. I've seen things that I never thought you could that could actually happen with humans and animals. So it's been a windfall of information. Like I said, with the prior police situation, I'm finding a lot more what they call First Amendment auditors. And for those of you who don't know what First Amendment auditors is, you can hop on YouTube, TikTok. Essentially, what First Amendment auditors are there are people who will go around engaging in First Amendment protected activities, and they'll go into public buildings, and they'll film places they're allowed to, and they'll get a lot of officers who are unaware how the laws actually function, and they'll challenge these laws. They'll challenge the law enforcement officers, and a lot of people think they're targeting police officers, and what they're doing is they're exposing a lot of the ignorance that a lot of these police officers have that they're pushing off as laws. And essentially what it does is it helps to rein in some of these bad officers so people aren't being targeted for certain things. And we see it all the time. And police officers really, they do get a bad rap sometimes because a lot of the good things that they do really never hit the light of day. And that's unfortunate that the profession that they're in catches so much grief. And I'm not saying the grief is self-induced, because you have some officers like the one who was going to pepper spray the individual that was handcuffed in the back of the vehicle, and a subordinate of his pulled him off and he turned around and he choked her. Now that type of stuff doesn't get as much exposure as I personally think it should, because we're always talking about why don't the police the police, and then when they do, you rarely hear about it. So those are some of the things that First Amendment auditors do. And for me, social media has, like I said, it's been mostly good. I don't have anything bad to report about it.
Yeah, let me read Donald's comment. He said, I only have Facebook and IG. I refuse to join the others, but it's 99% entertainment for me. And it is an entertainment for a lot of people, but also we have to understand it's not entertainment for a great deal of people.
Yeah.
Some people, it's their life. Anything that happened, any waking moment, whatever the fuck they wake up and eat, they got to post that. And I only ate two teaspoons a day, and whatever the case is. You're like, why are they posting this stuff? Whatever. But some people, it's kind of like, I would say, like an extra, like a friend or something. Like, okay, I can get everything off. I'm gonna log in and I'm gonna express and say everything, and people always try to minimize it, like it's just Facebook, it's just TikTok, but it's real for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And you see that people do real live stuff on there, like the violence and the different things like that. It's real, and people got an audience now, and they're taking advantage of it. So it can't be taken lightly. And I understand where you're going with it, Donald. Pretty much saying that you're not going, put yourself out there like that. It's entertainment, but for some people, they're doing some crazy stuff. When you see people get shot and stuff like that, and they're posting it and stuff like that, it's real. So I don't. I just think people are utilizing it because they like, shit, I got a platform, I got an audience now. I never had anybody paying attention to me before, so now, hey, I'm gonna roll with whatever I can on here. So that's that. And for me, it's always been like marketing. Uh,
Mhm.
Before, when I on Facebook, my brother, he would be on there, and he was like, man, why you ain't on Facebook? I said, because I don't care to be on it. I don't desire it. I was like, what, to look at people pictures? Shit, half of the people I don't even I always say I only like a few people in the world. So and I might just be minimizing it, but it just never was a big deal. I don't want to stroll through, see pictures or anything like that. And they're like, oh, it's a way to keep in contact. I'm like, the people that I want to keep in contact with, I already had their information. But until it brought out kind of a vibe with marketing when we were doing the Niagara Falls and Lake Sale reunion game. And that's when
Yeah.
I joined. And for me, like marketing, I went to that was my thing in high school. I took classes in marketing, and then that was my major, my first major when I went to college. So it brought back that passion. I ended up changing my major to social science, but I'm like, man, like, damn, this was what I always wanted to do, was market. So I used it as a tool, and I've been on there since. So now I just, use it for content and stir the pot and stuff like that. But I don't, not too much. I'm not gonna put too much on information on there like that. I'm not gonna give people that. You give people a little. I'm gonna feed people with a wooden spoon, and they just gonna have to figure it out. For far as from my end.
And I think what's underscored about social media, and unfortunately, this is the to the demise of print media, your mainstream media, is that it's decentralizing a lot of that, which is not a bad thing. It's giving people voices who otherwise would not have voices. And I'll expand this to a global view. For those of you who like history, recall the Arab Spring. All the countries that were in the Middle East that were starting to engage in civil discourse to get some type of freedoms. That started via social media. I've been fortunate enough to befriend some people on TikTok from Ukraine. I bumped into one today from Russia, and there's this young lady, 28, had some type of debilitating disease when she was 6, and it's pretty much left her um, with limited speech, and I think she's a quadriplegic. and I see the interactions that she gets from the viewers, and she doesn't do a whole lot. So it gives people like her a reason for existing. They're just not sitting in a chair, being immobile and thinking that there's nothing out in the world there for them. Like I said, you go back to media, it gives people voices who otherwise wouldn't have one. Um, all the situations that might occur that somebody feels they have nobody to turn to. So what people do now, they turn on the phone, they get behind the mic, and they put this information out there. So no longer do you have to go directly to another party. You can go directly to the source, and you can actually interact with this individual and ask this person questions in real time and get that information in real time. So no longer do you have to worry about journalists telling one side of the story. Like if you watch Fox News, you tend to get a Republican slant. If you watch CNN or MSNBC, you tend to get a Democratic slant. If you're watching what's the other one? I can't remember the one. BBC, which is for the British Broadcasting Corporation, out of England, you tend to get a little more of a centric view. So all these things now that we tend to minimize, especially when it comes to social media, they're platforms to allow the average individual access to information that they generally otherwise would not have. So I think there's some really good things in social media. And as you mentioned, branding, there's some people on TikTok that they're doing numbers. And I mean, they are doing some serious numbers. They're building a brand, and they're otherwise would be stuck in a job that they didn't like because they have no other recourse. Either they didn't go to school or they don't have a marketable skill. So I could see a whole lot of things with social media that's good.
Netta, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah,
What's going on, young lady?
you had a little injury, whatever. What's going on?
Uh-oh.
I fell going up the stairs.
The
Oh,
stairs in your new house?
No, I fell at work going up the stairs.
damn.
Sorry to hear
So,
that.
I'm with you.
huh?
I said, I'm with you. I still got to get my elbow looked at. Don't curse
And
me
it
out
was
either.
crazy though, and my knee immediately like swollen up like. And so one of the doctors, he was like, "You can't walk on it." So he picks me up and carried me into the ER. I'm
Oh,
like,
damn.
"Oh God, I'm in so much pain." So I say to him, "Yo, this dead weight." He was like, "You under 2 though. That's all that matters." I was like, "Really?" But yeah, so they did this new thing. I don't know if it's down here the lack of care or what down here, but they bandaged it. They used this type of bandage that has sticky stuff on it with medication in it. And they wrapped it around my knee to put the knee in place and to lock the knee. So all I feel is the tightness of the bandage and the warmth of the medication that's going inside the knee.
Let me ask you this question about that. Are they strips?
Yeah, they're like strips. So
If
I'm gonna show you. Can you see it?
Gotta move this comment thing.
yeah, they've been, for those of you who are unaware, if you watch basketball, particularly because you won't see them in the other
Yeah, that's
sports.
what he said. Hockey players and basketball players, they use them a lot.
Yes, what it does is it reduces the inflammation, and at the same time, it keeps ligaments and tendons in place.
Yeah, I love it because it feels amazing. Like I can feel the warmth but y'all ain't on here to talk about my knee injury, my little boo boo.
Hey, information is information.
Exactly, because some people might not know about it, so we always try to check in with you, see what's going on.
Yeah, I always got something going on, right, Dave?
We all do. We all do.
But I love
Hey.
my new house and I love everything in Texas.
Heard it's real good.
I'm mad about the ceiling fan because I got to replace mine in my living room. It just stopped working, so I got to do some maintenance on my ceiling fan.
Do you see how high that freaking ceiling fan is?
Hey, I like vaulted ceilings. My house has them. My ceilings in my house are about 9 feet high. There's nothing wrong with vaulted ceilings. Rock with them.
Yeah, okay. Until you gotta AC this sucker up.
Well, yes, that's a bad part of being in Texas. I run my AC maybe twice a year.
Yeah,
I'm
it ain't no joke. They sent us a notification telling us to turn our lights off at this time and turn our fans off at this time to preserve, because they turned our electricity off for an hour.
rolling brownouts. That's what they call them.
Yeah, because the temperature was like over 100 since June 1st.
And the other thing you need to be
oh no, that's bull crap.
Yeah, it's too hot.
the other thing you need to be cognizant of living in Texas is the state of Texas is its own power grid. And for those of you who don't know what that means, essentially it means that remember last year when Texas had that issue where they lost power and it was so cold that people were freezing? That's because they can't borrow power from other states as readily as other states because they're not tapped into the power grid.
Right.
So that's why you need to be careful of that. And if I were you, honestly, I would invest in a generator.
Yeah, my brother's coming here in September. He's getting me help me get a generator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me, he was like, you need a generator. Because when I went out for an hour, I was like freaking out, like, I paid my bills. So what's our topic tonight?
We were just talking about how has TikTok and IG and other social media platforms impacted your life. And Netta, you and this echo.
I don't hear it.
You won't be for what I used to have the same problem. That's why I moved the earphones, and I think that might work for you.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on.
You want to say hi to everybody, man? Is that what it is?
That damn cat to bed.
Don't nobody want to talk to your cat.
He wants to talk to everybody though.
He does not want to talk to us. That's weird.
Look at him.
He doesn't want to talk to us. That's
So
can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
We hear you. And I don't hear no echo either.
Whatever.
He's correct though.
So,
Y'all so
Netta, how has it?
disrespectful.
We're just being real. How has social media, these different platforms, impacted your life?
How has it impacted my life?
Yes.
Well, most of my business is generated off of social media, so that's how it's impacted me. I'm not really like, my life is not like, I'm on social media a lot. I post a lot, journeys, updates, all that stuff. But my life is not centrally located with social media. Like, social media is not the be all end all for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people live on the basis of, oh, what they doing. I get the latest news. I get information. No, you're not. You're going to get the thoughts and views and opinion of people. You're not going to get factual information. In some incidents, you do. But I'm different because I'm not a social media influencer. I'm a kingdom influencer. So I look different. I look at things differently.
You said a kingdom influencer?
Yeah.
So explain that to the people.
A kingdom influencer is, I'm all about promoting spirituality. I'm about promoting God. I'm about promoting self-reliance, about self-check, self-care, loving oneself, being loving to others. I'm about that versus social media influence. Like, social media, it's like an up and down. It's like a yo-yo. You never know where you are with people. One bad word you say on social media. One person disagree with you. You slander for forever.
Yeah, I know how that is, but I ain't gonna get into that.
One
Yeah.
bad move, because the thing is, like when I sent you a message, it was like, yo, they be tripping on here. You thought I was saying like, oh, they be tripping and you ain't, you know what I'm saying? No, my thing is like they be tripping on here and they disrespectful, but when you come back at them, then they want to act like you some aggressive, overly aggressive female. No, I'm a female that I'm going to defend myself, and I'm not going to allow you to talk to me and treat me any old kind of way because you used to dealing with these subpar females who not educated enough to know to defend themselves. No, you're not going to just talk to me in any kind of way. And that's the same thing with a man. You're not going to have no woman talk to you and try to emasculate you. Like, you're not going to have that type of conversation. If you do feel like you're going to have that type of conversation, terminate the conversation. We have the right to terminate conversations. We have the right to say, I don't want to talk about something. I don't want to discuss it.
Yeah, we do. We do. But also, we also know that probably when you do that, that it's going to come back up again. It's sort of like sweeping it under the rug, and not getting any closure. Because whether it's and we talk about last week's show, whether it's Obsidian, it could be somebody else different the next time, or in your relationship or family member or something. We only could say, oh, we're not going to talk about that. And a lot of times people, that's their thing. Well, I'm done with this conversation, and they leave it kind of with no closure. That shit gonna come back up. It's gonna
Yeah.
come back up. Yeah.
I feel everything doesn't require closure. Some things just need to be closed and shut down because we need to come to an agreement that we're gonna agree and disagree. Like Herb and I don't agree on everything. Okay, 90% of the stuff Herb say I don't agree with. Probably 90% of the stuff I say Herb don't agree with. But I'm not like, oh, I can't stand Herb. I never want to talk to me in life. No, I'll just be a mature adult and be like, listen, that's Herb's views. This is Aneta's views. We not going to agree. But at the end of the day, Herb respect me. I'm going to respect you.
Yeah.
You disrespect me, I'm going to shut you down and not deal with you no more. Because one thing I don't do, and I think that we need to learn as adults, is just because somebody acts out a certain way doesn't mean we have to react to it.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
some things just don't even require it. And your little friend last week, I don't know who he was. He was a
My
pompous.
little friend.
He was a pompous jerk to go back and forth and be belligerent and disrespectful to Lakia. Yeah, Lakia is aggressive. She's not aggressive. She's assertive, and she's a very intelligent woman. But she's assertive, and she ain't gonna let you say whatever you want to say. But I felt like he was trying to, even with me, I felt like he was trying to, as they say, push the triggers to see who gonna fire back and just say, sound the board and say, see, this is how Black women act. Now, I'm not gonna give you that credit. I'm gonna leave and exit the conversation before I tell you how to catch it, where to get it at, and how you gonna get it. But that, again, goes along with that social media. A lot of people like to do that social media bullying, but in real life, you see them and they like, hey, how you doing?
And that's one thing I always tell people. You're going to get an aspect of someone, and hopefully that aspect you get on social media. You're going to get an aspect of somebody on social media, and you hope it's always them. I tell people, I'm me, no matter where I go, where I am, what I'm doing. I'm a straight shooter. So if I say something on social media, believe me, I'll repeat it in the streets. And I think that's where a lot of people, they kind of they cross that line of decorum and respectability, just like you're saying, Aneta. They don't. There's no repercussions for sitting up there saying "fuck you" to somebody. Where if you say that in the street, you know what's coming next. So
Right.
now that has been removed, you get people who are becoming emboldened, and they say this, and this, and all of a sudden now you come in the street. They're like, yo, I really didn't mean that. I was having a bad, well, you're about to have a real bad day. We're about to pack you up and send you to the ER in a small package. And those are the type of things that we should be trying, especially like you said, Annetta, as adults, we should be trying to minimize. And those are the type of lessons we should be trying to pass on to the youth. That this is immediate, and it's immediate for communications. Hone your communications here. So when you actually get out into the world and when you start to meet people, you're actually better at it.
Right.
This is like I used to get into a real habit of going back and watching a broadcast and critiquing myself on the way I speak, my cadence, and my clear, and my choosing the right words. That's because, like I used to tell my mentees, just I don't care what you get out of this program. There's two things that I want you to understand: speak well, write well. If you do those two things in life, you'll never be misunderstood and people will think you're intelligent, which is all anybody should ever really want to be, aside from successful.
Right.
Those things you're going to determine yourself. But speaking well, being articulate, those are things that are well within anybody's control. It doesn't matter if you have a eighth grade education, doesn't matter if you have a master's, multiple doctors, or whatever the case is. There's nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that stops an individual from speaking well. Enunciate your words clearly. Be articulate. Pick up a dictionary. Pick up a thesaurus. If you can spend 3 hours a week making TikTok videos, I'm sure you can spend a half an hour a week reading books.
But
Writing.
see, that's the thing, Herb. So we're
Ain't
gonna
about to
talk
do all
about that.
that.
Let's talk about that. So I had a whole conversation with somebody that's a grown adult. And they was like, they made a little slight comment about, oh, what you don't watch TV, so what you gonna sit and read a book? And I was like, yeah, I'm about to read a book. And they was like, man, I don't read. And the first thing that came to my head is that's why you can't hold an intelligent conversation, because you don't read. And I shared with them, I said, listen, reading is fundamental. It helps you be able to disseminate, it helps you be able to conversate, it helps you be able to dialogue properly in all settings. If you don't read, how would you have the knowledge to communicate?
A lot of people,
And
they will.
believe it
Oh,
or
go. I'm
not,
sorry.
I know a lot of people that be like, I don't read. And
Well,
I'm
that's a
like,
lot. There's a
how
lot of
do you
people that
not read? I guess I don't know. How do you not read?
they read stuff that's interesting to them. Stuff that's probably with drama or excitement. They'll read a police report, or they'll
Mhm.
read an article about somebody getting shot or murdered or something like that on social media. But then again, that's just a little small thing. To be able to get better at reading and articulation, to be able to write better, you have to read books and read different people's writing styles and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But they read, but it's just simplistic stuff maybe that's only catered to what they're interested in. And I think that's just the overall problem of the way people are being taught to read, like the different curriculum and stuff in school. But that's a whole different. We always go into that, so I'm not going to even tackle that area. But I did want to touch on like how y'all were saying that social media may make you different, or people respond differently. Me, I go to my alias is the controversial counselor, because a lot of that is I'll throw out stuff that's really what I think. On a day-to-day basis at work, I'm quiet as hell. I only mess with a couple people. They come in and they were like, "Oh, I'm David quiet, Mr. Glover quiet." But some people who follow me on social media, and I'll just give you a quick little story. My secretary was like, "I was at the beach, Mr. Glover, and um, somebody was talking about you." I said, "What beach?" And then she named the beach, and I was like, "How could they talk about me? I ain't never been to that beach." She's like, "Oh, they were talking about you." And then I was like, then she, went on. again, and then she told me, but it was a fellow, one of my fellow counselors. She worked at the elementary, so when I used to go there and do presentations for the elementary kids when they get ready to come to middle school, she must have mentioned, "Oh, you work with Mr. Glover at Golden Ring," and then she was, the young lady was like, he's funny, like he's funny. And she was like, Mr. Glover, he's quiet. He doesn't talk. It's like pulling teeth. He doesn't say anything. You gotta pull. You gotta pull it. You gotta. It's like pulling teeth to get a conversation out of him. She was like, no, not on social media. He is funny. The stuff that he say. So, but people that know me at work that I talk to, they know like, oh, he got some jokes. He talk a lot of crap. But for the most part, people probably don't know that at work because I mind my business and I do what I got to do. Now the kids may say differently, like Mr. Glover always talking crap, but like the adults, and that's probably one of the things that why we always have a disconnect, even not even just in education, but at workplaces because we're never cohesive as a team. Nobody really knows each other, but a certain few people. So the dynamics is always jacked up because we don't do too much. You get hired, and that's you jump in there and you roll with it instead of saying like we need to have some team building type things that we get to know each other because when you get closeness with people, when you work at certain like I worked at group homes and I got close with like it might be three of us on staff and we got a system and that shit used to roll like it was nothing like riding a bike whatever you go to work like we killed another shift easy work but when you don't have that this is what happened it's just always chaos.
I co-sign that, man. There's some professions and industries where that teamwork is just like you say, it's like gears a bike in a sprocket. Everything fits, and when you go to move, it works. And when you have that, it's glorious. And when you don't, man, you dread going to work. And I think that's why a lot of people. Because I was asked this last week. I was asked, do I love my job? But for me, I've never worked a job because I like or I love the job. I work because I need to pay bills. So I always try and find things external of work that I like to do. Now, what I do want to have at work is the ability to go to work and the people that I'm working with, they know what they're doing. So there doesn't need to be any hand holding.
If you don't get at Cat another female, another male,
he wants to go. He wants to go outside. So y'all gonna have to bear with me. I will address him in a moment. All right.
That cat sounds disgusting.
He wants to go outside. That's what.
Yeah, I say like who the hell? But then I thought about that. That's the cat. I was like, who the hell is
that? He wants to go out. He wants to go outside. I'm not gonna let him because it's too late. But anyway.
Who's that in the background?
Told y'all he wants to be. David doesn't want to have his TikTok moment. So, but it helps to boost the skin. So when you go to work, man, it's not work. It's just I'm here. We got to get this done. We're going to get this done and we're going to move on with the rest of our day. Or for me, the rest of the morning, because I work midnights. And what I found out working midnights is I don't have to deal with 90% of the nonsense that other people have to deal with. It's just me, one individual. And like you said, Dave, when we come in there, we like gloves on a boxer, man. He do this, I do this. I know what he's going to do. He knows what I'm going to do. And if we have any questions, we just ask. It's easy.
Yeah, I do know like even I always follow the paradigm of sports and stuff. Like when these sports teams when they win championships is usually because they gel and they spend time outside of practice. They do things together, go to each other's house, have dinner and stuff. That me and one of my buddies that teach together, that should be the model of work. Like a lot of people, I don't do co-workers. I ain't saying you got to put everybody in your business, but when it's opportunities presented, it should be those times to get out your element and do something different and get to see somebody, find out something different about a coworker that maybe you might appreciate. Other than, you see different things on social media and stuff like that that you might comment, like, and stuff like that. But I think that's big to be able to connect with individuals, because even myself, like I said, I keep to myself. But it's been times that we had work functions, and then you go there and you were like, wow, they was wilding, or whatever the case is. But you're like, man, they silly as hell. And then you start speaking and talking to them more, and you're like, damn, we've been working here all this time, and this is the most conversation we ever had, because you were at this function outside of work and you got to see them at a different light, and then suddenly they're not that annoying person. They're like, they're actually funny, they're actually down to earth, or whatever the case is. I think there should be more things like that, that kind of, especially the morale isn't the highest anywhere at this point right now, so you need more activities and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's where the inside jokes start to come out. And when somebody says something, it's like, oh, I get it. And you start to have those moments where you say, oh, that was funny. Or this. It reminds me of the movie, The Magnificent Seven, the remake, towards the end of the movie, where the Native American guy actually speaks English. And I can't remember the character's name. And he says, you speak English? He said, come on inside. We got a lot to catch up on. And right then, even though they had spent the time prior to that building a rapport, all of a sudden it galvanized them even more. And for people who haven't seen that movie, I would highly recommend, not only because Denzel in it and they have a fantastic cast, I would recommend watching that movie to see how people from differing backgrounds actually came together for a common cause. Because when you're at work, that's what you're there for.
Right.
Doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. You're there for a reason, and usually the reason is to do something.
Now, on the other hand, with social media or TikTok, Instagram, a lot of times you go in there, you like, what the hell is this? Soft porn, or whatever the case is. There's a lot of that going on, and you see 60, 70-year-old ladies. I'm like, for real? Like, it's wild. And I guess they're out there chasing that silver bullet too. Like, yo, I'm branding myself. I got all these followers, and hell, I'm sure some of them are getting paid, or whatever the case is. And you like, wow, like, interesting. And you're like, is this what it's become? And I think some people, that's not even their thing, but they realize, like, man, all I got to do is go in here, do this dance, put videos and stuff like that. And it seemed to be a huge market for that right now.
Yeah, because those people are called social media influencers.
Mhm.
However, say this without, I'm gonna get things slammed for saying this anyway. It doesn't even matter, because it's like the mere fact that I pause to say it gets people upset on here. People be so mad at me on this thing. So it just gears my grind when people be like, I'm a social media influencer, and then you see them on the bus, or you see them not really, you know what I'm saying, Herb? They not really who they are on social media.
We call it faking the funk.
And so I be like,
The thing about the way people use that term, there are some people on social media who actually move the needle so they can start a trend. And then there's some people that they can't do anything. They could move the bowel movement.
you know, you crazy. I cannot.
I was gonna get kind of graphic, but I'm gonna tone it down. They couldn't do the bounds if they had to get if they had to prep for a colonoscopy, and I'll just leave it at that.
So while I've been here, I met this guy, and at this event, and he was like, "Oh, I'm this, and this." He was telling me all the stuff he is. I'm a lawyer. I do this. I do this. I do this. I'm like, okay. So y'all know I'm an investigator.
Investigate people in Texas.
They don't stop.
So I let him do all this talking, but then I got home and I realized I never got his last name.
Uh-oh. Had to do a little more work.
Texting me back and forth. Are you home safe? I said, I'm home safe, thank you. He was like, what area do you live in? I never do that. I never tell people what area I live in. So then he just kept texting me. So I said, I never got your last name. What is your last name again? Because you have mine. But he told me his last name. So I started going through my investigation stuff. So I was like, you know, you can pull up information. You find out they passed the bar, da 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 da. So I said, when did you pass the bar? And so he was like, oh, about 10 years ago. I'm like, because your social media page stated that you failed 4 times. This was just 2019.
Oh, Boo Boo got caught acting like a fool.
So I was like, so you passed the bar. When did you actually pass the bar? This dude said 2006. I'm like, so finally I had to bust the bubble. I said, you do need to update your social media stuff, or somebody has hacked your page and put the wrong information. Oh, I do declare.
Buddy. They out there. They out there. That's all I can say. I tell people, look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have no reason to.
Yeah.
It's
People.
just much easier for me to tell you the truth. I ain't got no car, so I'm gonna catch the bus. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna bike. I'm gonna be up front.
And see, and I guess that's the thing. The lesson in it all, and that'll put on them damn earbuds.
I'm sorry. Don't curse at me because I get sensitive.
Oh my God. I just said put on them damn. So that's the thing. For ordinary people, and we are ordinary people, but when you doing all this stuff on social media and all that, remember, there's some people taking it all in. And they're going to come back at you one way or another. And sometimes you might post something and you might say this one day, and they're collecting data on you, and they're waiting like, oh, this person just said that. Oh, he posted this. She posted this. Oh, I'm about to chime in. They're going to come for you. What are you going to do? And the one thing you got to realize that a lot of people, as you said, they're content creators, but they think they are, but when people come at them, they weak as hell because they think, okay, let me go live and I got people watching me, but they don't know when the lights is bright and you set a date and time. See, it's easy to just hit the live button random times of people watching you, but when the lights is bright and you got a certain time, and now you there, and now you got to put that content out there, suddenly your ass is shook. And then you got people like, oh, I can't wait to go in here. I got this to say, I got that to say, and you looking at the comments and all that. So you got to be mindful of that. I mean, trust me, even with my alias, people have been coming at my throat for the longest, but I just take it as it is. Take it as it is.
And that's very true because I made a statement out here about I'm open dating. I had a lot of men inboxing me off of this doggone counselor corner.
I love the Coasters Corner.
It was like, you're open dating. Are you interested? No, sir. When I stated that means I'm open dating with people that are dating. Okay? Because I don't like to be inboxed right then, randomly. That annoys me.
See, and that's another thing. How do a man get the invitation to your inbox? Because if they want to have a private conversation, and if they don't have your phone number, they're going to be inclined to say, man, let me inbox and see what happened. But then, we talked about this before on the show, and people were like, oh, you all up in my DM. You are like, where else they want to go if they don't want everybody to be in their business? Maybe because they know, like, damn, she might shoot me down. They don't want to be embarrassed, because a lot of guys don't got game. They don't got conversation. So they rather talk private. Who wants to go? You only go back and forth like that on the thread when you know, I got it. I already booked this. I'm just going along with it. She like me. I like her. I'm going to just go into
99.9% of the time, you're going to get turned down by them.
Why you seem so low now?
I don't know why I'm low.
That's an interesting question you ask, and I'll tell you what I do if I have an interest in the female. What I'll do is I'll send a friends request. If she accepts it, that let me know she's willing to actually potentially, I say potentially, engage in conversation with me. Now, I think where a lot of fellas, and this is some game, if you will, for you fellas, your initial message should at least be pertaining to something that was discussed. Don't branch off in the left field talking about when can we meet up and when can we do this and when can we do that. That smells of desperation. So if you're not going to reference what the reason was for you sending the friends request or reference what was discussed, you might as well keep that mess moving. I'm gonna tell you now, because I don't get messaged by a whole lot of people, whether it's male or female. And generally when they do, they're referencing something that was discussed. That way I have a frame of reference of what to talk about, how the conversation is gonna go, or whatever. Now, if you're skilled in the gift of gab, you can navigate that and segue to something else. This is what I was talking about earlier with people not reading, with people not being socialized properly, with people not understanding how humans function, especially women. If you have a woman such as Annetta that's guarded, you got to say, okay, this is a minefield I'm stepping in. And if I take one wrong step, I can lose a foot.
Well, that's KYP, knowing your personnel, like studying.
And a lot of people. Well, I'm sorry, David.
Yeah, studying and understand. Huh?
Why gotta be guarded though?
You are. There's nothing. I'm guarded. We're just guarded in different ways. You put it out there was no, because you said you do background checks where my being guarded is the 100 questions. We just go about it different ways.
Same thing as background checks too.
Well, yes, but I'm out front with mine. You're covert. We operate the same. We do the same thing, just different ways. There's nothing. It's not good or bad. It's just a way to get something done. Because I like to engage in conversation with people. Doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter where we are. If I can strike up a conversation with a random stranger, I'm gonna strike up a conversation with a random stranger. We could be talking about politics. We could end up with sports or vice versa. That's how versed I am when it comes to discussions with people. But I pride myself on doing that. Some people don't.
But hold up, Herb. Hold up. I was going back to your, and I caught a glimpse of it because then I got a text that one of my students is missing, and I was reading that, and I'm like, damn, like. And the ironic thing about it is this is the second time it's missing, like that is probably made the news and all that in the last month. And I'm like, man, what the hell? Like, whew. and I hope she's okay. I mean, she made it home back last time, and I hope everything is
Mm.
fine this time.
Y'all need
Um,
to find out why she keep leaving.
I already know why. I already know why, but I can see that stuff in the community, and I keep talking about this, whatever. Like, yeah, you got to stop letting these little girls, um, and boys too, but run around. But see, with boys, usually they have a deeper pack than girls, whatever. Uh, it might be five or six of them or whatever. Like they're more posse. That back in our days when we used to say posse. The little girls, it might be one or two, and they just it's dark time, and they all over the place, whatever. And I don't know where the hell these parents is at. They just chilling, and that's why you keep seeing these girls missing. Um, because you have people that it's just not random people who just came out like, oh, they're come out of nowhere. It's people who already studied that area. They
Yeah.
studied it and like, okay, I already know the mood. Like these little girls, they always here. They gonna be they streetwalkers. They up and down the street. Well, I'm gonna get their asses tonight, or whatever the case is. So it's aggravating that this this young lady, like, I mean, I'm annoyed, like, man, like, but I can't give any more details on it because but it's crazy getting a text during that. But back to the show, her you said about if you're interested in a woman, you friend request her and she accepted, and that lets you know, like, but isn't that just basic stuff? You sometimes people accept a friend request because like, oh, we got mutual friends and they accept it.
Absolutely, but that's why I say you start. If I'm initiating, I'm starting with a post or a comment that she made, and we're moving from there.
Okay.
You have it's you don't build a bridge or you don't build a street without some type of foundation. You have a lot of people, especially fellas, and I'm gonna put it out there. You're trying to build a bridge and you don't understand engineering. You don't understand in order to build that bridge, you need some embankment. Y'all trying to jump in there and trying to get this female to come over and Netflix and chill, which I don't even understand in and of itself because I don't have Netflix. I have DVD, so maybe it's the same thing, just a different way. I don't know, but that's not how I get down because I don't want no female in my personal space unless I think she's worthy of being in my personal space. But I'm on the other side of 45, so I operate differently. But your young cats, man, you got to somehow figure out who you are. And I know you're trying to get at a female's essence, but as was said in the movie Colors, don't run down, walk down. And for those of you who don't understand that reference, go watch the first 15 minutes of the movie Colors. You'll thank me later.
I think Jay Z said I ain't gonna get it to all that. He said, but y'all young boys got to chill. The 30's the new 20 or something, whatever. That song, it was some little party went on about. They said you young boys got to chill, but you definitely got to study and know like when you make moves like that, it got to be calculated and know
Yeah,
like all right, she's liking everything. Or it has to be some type of inclination that makes you say, all right, I want to go hard. But we're gonna move on from the social media aspect of it, and we're gonna move into segment two. And like I always say, the show, whether it's me, her, whether it's me, the show gonna keep rolling. And a lot of people don't even understand that. For me, in November, this will be like 8 years
yeah.
blog talk. Um, Times I was in the studio by myself, being a part of other shows, and then finally, learning the platform to do my, to create a studio platform myself. Been doing this for a while, so it's always interesting to see people who think, "Oh, I got a show. I'm about to do a podcast." I'm like, okay, I hope they're ready for to put in the work that they think is required. And trust me, I'm still at the lower level, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. It's it's coming, and many of you may not see it. Y'all might say, "Oh, it's only 5 people watching it right now," but you don't know the behind the scenes things, whatever the numbers that's being computed that leads you to possibly get monetization and stuff like that. So, just wanted to throw that out there. But the next one is, go ahead. You want to say something?
I was gonna say there's a gratification with what you're doing, and people for people who have never embarked on anything, it means nothing. For people who have, and like you said, the back because I remember the times that I used to put in when it was just you and I, and we were doing conference. The amount of time I spent researching stuff, I was like, it was gratifying for me to come into this information and and to be able to take this and actually use it to be a benefit to somebody who may not have known. Because this is, and I'm sure your inbox is full of stuff. People say, "I never knew that. I never heard of that. I didn't know that was like this." Just case in point with the sports tape that Annette is wearing. There's a lot of people that have seen it have no idea what it is. So something new has been introduced to some people. Some people who probably come back and watch the rebroadcast of this.
It's true. It's true. So,
That's true. But my only thing is like you want to still pay homage to the people that kind of been rocking it out with you. And you want to make sure that because I'm all about not having bad relationships. I know y'all hear me say that all the time, and I'm not saying anything particular. I'm just saying for me, if I always feel like if I did something wrong or somebody assumed I did something wrong, let me address it. Give me the opportunity to address it. Don't just assume I took a side because my silence doesn't mean that I took a side. My silence means that I didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that I didn't want to take a side. And I think with David, most times, well, 99.9% of the time, quiet. So you got to know his flex because it's a flex. So he'll do like the little smirk. That's when you know he really ain't agreeing with you. Or he'll do that right there when he like, don't, oh, that's some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or he'll just do that little head tail where you know he's about to say something. So you got to kind of know people. You got to read people
that's it.
because it's more conversation and actually speaking. So you got to know people. So when Herb starts coming close to the screen, that's because Herb disagreed with what you said and he got a hard rebuttal. When Herb falls back, that means Herb's agreed and he's just letting it flow until his opportunity to speak. So you got to kind of know how to read people because if you don't know how to read people, then you won't know how to communicate.
And that was a great assessment of it all. Like knowing, just paying. Yeah, well, we know that. We know that. Like paying attention to stuff, whatever. Paying attention to cues and stuff. Then know your personnel. Like he didn't mean it like that. He said it, but it didn't. He didn't mean it like that. But a lot of tell you, the crazy thing is, I don't give a damn if they were, but you're not. If you've been on here for all this time and you don't know how each person rolls, and you misinterpret stuff, and you let that sit in you internally, you're a damn fool in sheep's clothing. You're a fool. Because
Hey,
huh?
yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It don't take that long. It don't take that long to study and realize like you know your person like your personnel. Like we be on here 2-3 hours, and
Well,
we've been
sometimes not so much knowing the personnel when somebody has something going on. So you got to understand with this page, if you hit emotional triggers that people have went through, what are you going to do if somebody hit an emotional trigger? You're going to be combative and defensive. That's just the nature of the beast of a human being. So because of that, sometimes with that combative and argumentative and defensive spirit or demeanor, it doesn't always give you the opportunity to be rational about your thinking and rational about what you're going to say and processing stuff. So you got to be conscious of that. And you got to be conscious of another person. I said something today to somebody at work, one of my staffers. She said, do you talk like this to everybody? It always sounds like you're counseling us. It always sounds like you're training us. I said, because life is about helping and serving. And I can't help you serve you if I'm aggressive. So I got to be able to communicate in a way that I'm going to be able to receive what you're saying, and you're going to be able to receive what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, what? No, what you need to do? You're going to be looking at me like, she don't lost her girl.
You know, you know what? The one thing I realized, and that just let us know the state of mental health. Counseling is probably the one profession that no one really wants to get your advice in. If somebody knows, if somebody knows about cars, or you could be driving with somebody and they know about cars, they will say, "Oh, this is what's going on. It sounds like this is going on, and everything fine." Healthcare, if it's an illness or it sound like you got this, a lot of times people don't dispute it. But if somebody think you're trying to counsel them, they lose it.
All right.
They lose it. That's my experience. Why are you counseling me? I'm not even counseling you. I'm having a regular damn conversation. But understand this: that this is a part of my livelihood, just like your profession is a part of your livelihood. You're a nurse, and you're going to be picking up on certain things we're conversating. And might not even be looking for a health assessment, but that's just what you're trained in. You may say, you might need to get this checked out. Am I going to flip my lid or say, damn, okay, let me probe and ask more questions about that to make sure, because I know she knows and she's tight with her stuff. But counseling, that's the one thing. Hey, people flip their lid about that, because nobody wants to be counseled. But really, you're counseled through life. You're counseled by your parents. You're counseled by older siblings, friends, and all that stuff. It's just a word, and people get caught up like they in some damn got on a straight jacket or something. Somebody counseling and whatever. Yeah, but people got you got to grow up and go
Yeah,
deeper into your thought.
but I both deal with behavioral mental health.
I don't know why you sound so low.
I don't know why either. You and I both deal with behavioral mental health. And the crazy thing about it is some of the most healthiest people get counseling.
Yeah.
People think that it's the crazy people get counseling. No, the crazy people don't want counseling. It's the most healthy, stable mind people that get counseling because they already in their head believe I need an outlet. I need somebody to give me resources and direction in my thought process.
Yeah.
It's the ones that don't want that is the ones you be like,
Yeah. They don't want it, and they're gonna probably demonstrate the same behaviors over and over. All right, we're gonna move on to number 2. So segment 2, and that dealt with, again, let me ask you this: are men responsible for women's happiness? And during the
no.
introduction, we talked about it. Most people say no. I'm in charge of my own happiness, but I don't know if people getting that same message inside the homes when they're having these relationships behind the closed walls. Closed walls. I don't think it's a lot of blame put on men, and men are blaming women. So it's always something worthy to talk about.
No one's responsible for anyone's happiness. Nobody.
Why do you think most people don't get that message? Because it's a lot of the blame game on why people who messed up their lives, or it's a lot of that being thrown out there.
Life is about choices, learned experiences, learned lessons, and self experiences. So I don't believe that a man is responsible for your happiness. Because if you're not happy in the beginning, you're not gonna be happy with him. Okay? And that's just the state of being but that's the whole thing of a lot of people don't love themselves, so they have an inability to love somebody else. When you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else because you don't know how to love. And that's
But
just like happiness. You can't sit here I can't sit here and say I'm all the way in a state by myself. Okay. I got a very close family, very close knitted family, very good family. Okay. That I moved from. But it has not changed the fact that I'm happy. Because my happy doesn't be deteriorated or missing because I'm in a different location or because I'm not in a relationship. I gotta be happy with Anetta before I can engage with somebody else to be happy with. That's contentment. You gotta be content within yourself. And a lot of relationships fail because we're expecting men to fulfill a void that we've been having since we were children. And I'm expecting you to come in and fulfill this void. Oh, my daddy wasn't around. Can you fulfill this void? I want you to be my daddy and my man. You know what I'm saying? And y'all men like, well, what the heck? What you want me to do? You want me to love you? You want me to raise you? What you want me to do? So that's why it's important that people find they're happy within and don't perceive that because you're in a relationship, that's going to solidify your happiness. No, that's going to solidify turmoil. Because now at some point, this person is going to be resentful because they're not getting back what they given.
Well, one of the things when you think about that, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, I love myself." And again, we always talk about those catchphrases. I know my self worth and all that stuff. And I kind of certain people post that, and I just laugh like, "Stop." I want to just go in there with a big ass stop sign.
I post that a lot.
But you may be, you may be, you're at a different level. You're doing things to show that you're making moves. It's the same people that say the same thing, but they're in the same situation. They're still in a rut, and they haven't done anything different. So that's not showing. That's not showing self. That's not showing self love. We just had this guy, what showed other about self love and all of that stuff. So a lot of people say it, but they don't really secretly they don't really believe it. And then when they do try to do something, guaranteed when you're going through that process, you got to cut a lot of people off.
Yeah.
They got to fall back, and it could be family members, people that you talk to on a regular basis. You kind of got to go into a metamorphosis and then say, "Hey, I got to reinvent myself and just disappear. I can't do this." Or you got to find something that you really want to, that you probably really was self-fulfilling to you, that you wanted to accomplish. And you go ahead, get into that lab, do what you got to do, cut people off, then come back out, be stronger and better. Most people don't do that. They with the same people, the same individuals, the same toxic people, and there's not going to be any improvement.
You know what they say? What's insanity? When you're repeating the same thing, expecting a different result.
Mm-hmm.
Key thing about a human being is, and especially a human being that never takes accountability, ownership, and responsibility, they're not going to see themselves as the focal point or the issue because they're always blaming someone else. That's a hurt person. Hurt people hurt others. And many times people expecting, like I just said, you have a void as a 7-year-old child, as an 8-year-old child that you're expecting someone to fulfill as an adult. Ever understood the capacity of love, so you don't love yourself and know your own value. You're just lip servicing. You know what I'm saying? So many times women that expecting a man to love them in a certain way, it's because they don't know the proper way of being loved. You know what I'm saying? And I can only speak because I was there. In my marriage, I was like, I need you to be this, and that. And he was trying for years. And then he got tired of trying, like, what the heck? I can't do no more. I can't try no more. This burned me out. I'm toast. So then it was at the point where I began to heal. I understood the pressures that I put on him to love me. You you put pressures on people to love you because you don't want to accept the organic love that they're giving you. We
Yeah.
always want to put a label on love. If you love me, you would do this. No, that's called conditions. Do you want somebody to love you with conditions, or you want somebody to love you unconditional? You need to figure out your position in life. What are you really desiring? What do you want? And I have to ask myself that too, because I'm like, okay, I can't say I want a relationship, but I'm moving as an independent single woman who don't really want a relationship. So I have to ask myself, what do you really want? Do you want a relationship, or you just want a companion to conveniently be around? Know like you said, your personnel. Know your personnel, because your personnel is personally you first. You got to know what you want and know who you are as an individual before you try to engage somebody else into your old lonely, bitter, sad, unlovable world. Oh, that's a lot I
said. I hope people win vests, because them are headshots.
Well, I know one thing. One of my professors in counseling 101, he always says sometimes you got to hit people on the head to make them understand. And that's probably the only way that they're gonna understand. I know a lot of people want to have that nice nurturing component and all that, but sometimes you just gotta downright hit them with that sledgehammer and say, "This is what it is," or shit, stop coming to me. And I just posted an old speech I had practiced on with one of my counselors at Niagara University. Shit, I wasn't doing right, and he told. Then I finally started getting right, and I was bringing him my papers and projects yours, and he was like, and he was real. He was like that. I go in his office and I show him, like, what the fuck you showing me this for? And no, I didn't report or say, oh, you cussing at me, whatever, or anything like that. I said, damn, I did better. He was like, look at me and say, dude, I already knew you could do this shit. So you're not impressing me, whatever, because I already knew it was in you. So sometimes things like that get you to stay on course. Like, damn, I've really been slacking. Like people already believed in me from the gate. And that's what people have to think, whatever. When you got people that believe in you and they're on your side, them ain't the ones that you want to cuss out, betray them, or give them the smoke. Them the ones you want to keep on your side. But I think a lot of times people, they don't understand good, healthy connections.
Mainly because they've never learned how to develop them. You have a lot of people that are moving recklessly through life, and this is something I said a short time ago. If you, as a woman, and this is just strictly speaking from a male to a female perspective in terms of relationships, if you, as a woman, don't have a male friend in your life that you've known for at least 20 years, whatever relationship y'all had, or whatever the rapport was, or the terms, then you got to ask yourself, are you that type of individual that can't keep and maintain a relationship? Because for guys, it's different. Guys are usually chasing after women for explicitly one thing, whereas women will keep a man around because he's useful to her in some way. So you have to ask yourself, if I, as a woman, can't keep a man around me because he's useful to me, or because I can dangle him around like that, then why is that? Because for women, it's much easier to keep a guy interested in you than it is for a guy to keep a woman interested in him, just because of the dynamics of human relationships and human mating. So that's one of the things I always look at, when a female, especially at our collective ages, when a female tells you she has a friend, she's known him since high school, I take her at her word. You have a lot of fellas that are fishing those, saying, oh no, that can't be possible. And I think about all the females that I know that I've known for 25, 30 years. And there's quite a few. I'm happy to know them. So if they call and ask me for something, I know it's not some random BS or fly by night of the nonsense. So I'm more than likely to say, how can I help you? What is it that you need? How can I be of assistance? As opposed to just some random person asking for something. They're likely to get shut down if they get a response at all.
Some men are intimidated though, because my best friend is a male, and we dated when I was like 14 to about 16, and we just went our separate ways, but it wasn't like no bad thing. But we got over 40 years of friendship, 35 years of
That's
friendship.
it. That's it.
And that's my boy. Like, I talk to him about everything from A to Z. Okay. And so for some people, for some men that I was talking to a date, whatever, they was uncomfortable with it, And then some people just like, well, why don't you and him just be together? Y'all know each other so well. That's the key thing right there. We know each other too well.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too well. We know too well. The dark, the indifferent, the good, bad, ugly. Too well to be together. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't know. That might be.
If we was on another universe, we probably would just manifest a relationship. But because we on Earth, it's not gonna happen.
Look like y'all had. Look like y'all got. I know you talking about. It look like y'all got love in your eyes.
But see, and I think, and I think, if this is just me, there's nothing wrong with having.
So petty, Dave.
No, I'm not petty. Anetta, I study stuff. I watch stuff, and I know you talking about. I know the guy. Huh?
He petty her.
I'm not getting in that. My name is Bennett. I ain't in it. I'm just simply saying that's a. I've said this before.
I do love him. That's my best friend. I love my best friend.
Does he have someone?
Does he have a girlfriend?
Yeah. No, he don't. I can tell. No. Okay. Well.
How you can tell he don't have a girlfriend? He have female.
No, because you hesitated.
He don't have a girlfriend, but he has female friends.
Okay.
Another, just like you diagnosed David and myself earlier, in poker, they call those tails. Everybody has them. And in poker, little hint for you people that begin to play poker, if you have tails, you better learn how to master them, or else your ass is going to get taken to the cleaners.
So I didn't master her?
What did David say? I don't know. I don't study people that well.
David is doing his little psychology stuff on
No,
me.
I'm not doing. Anetta, I might not say anything, but I read your stuff because I value what you say. I might not comment or anything, but I see, I watch the moves that you make because I'm proud of you, whatever. The move that you made right now, you didn't have to. You was doing all right. But it was a challenge that you wanted to push yourself on, and you did it. And a lot of people say that, hell, if I'm going to move to damn Texas from but you made that move. So I watched that stuff. Like I said, I don't always say anything, and I seen the gentleman, whatever, and it's something, but y'all friends, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. But I would be so surprised in a year or two, be like, yeah, guess who's in Texas? I would be surprised.
But and see, what, fellas, pay attention.
Patty. Oh, I'm gonna go off on you when I call you later.
Fellas, pay attention. I've said this multiple times on this platform. Learn how to keep your fucking mouth closed. Okay? I'm going to say it again. I'm going to clean up. Learn how to keep your mouth closed when you get certain things.
I'm trying to figure that out. What happened? Where did that come from?
My statement, Anetta?
Yeah, where that come from?
Because a lot of men, as soon as a lot of immature men come into some information, what's the first thing they want to do? They want to run and tell.
Yeah.
They beg the head cheerleader. They want to go tell. They beg the new chick in town. They want to go tell. They do this. They want to go tell. They get a new car. They want to go show. Biggie said it years. Go ahead, Netta.
That's somebody that's weak.
No, immature.
Weak.
Okay, but like Biggie said, bad boys move in silence. It's not necessary
And
to always.
David. That's David. David moved in silence. David, don't be looking at me like that.
Yeah, but you're supposed to. I've said it once and I'll say it again.
He's not a bad boy because Mama watches this. Mama, he's got a nice.
No, bad boys is euphemism for somebody who's on their grind. So bad boy isn't necessarily. Bad boys like saying something's cold blooded. He good with his.
Yeah,
And you should, yeah.
I don't think everything every detail need to be put out there on everything
Right.
that you do. And a lot of times that's their mishap. Putting stuff
Right.
out there, then when the shit falter, then shit they have nowhere to go. And I'm
Right.
I'm messing with you.
Back to what you were saying about, oh no, Dave, I didn't take it personal. You know my skin.
I know.
And not only that, Dave, it's probably 1,000,007 people that say, I really want y'all to be together. You know,
Yeah. And that's just somebody picked up on myself just by watching your post and seeing him, whatever. So that's the only reference I had.
everyone, it's not a person that we have not been around him and I just chilling. And we bust out laughing at him. They be like, but y'all so cute together. We be like,
Nah.
So let me ask you this: does he got his flight booked to come see you?
no.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
He probably be here September. For his
Yeah, I
birthday.
knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Yeah,
But see, everybody.
yeah,
That's my best friend. That's my
yeah.
homeboy.
But
my
that's
best
a good
friend.
thing. That's a good thing.
Like,
Right.
there is never a time like for real. When I say this with all totality of trueness and just keeping it real. You can have a best friend and not be intimately connected like that. Like that's my best friend. Like I could call him and be like, "Yo, I went on this date. It was crazy." Da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? And there is no like, oh, well, why you telling me that? You know what I'm saying? He like, oh, really? So what made you go out with him? What was his point that interest you? That you know what I'm saying? And then I could do the same to him. I'd be like, or we'd be out somewhere. I'd be like, yo, she's checking you out. She's checking you out. Like, and I'm silly with it. I'm like, yo, she's checking you out. Yo, dude, she's checking you out.
And you know
How we
the
are. You know what I'm saying?
and the thing about that those type of relationships is they reinforce the positive feelings we have about the opposite gender. So when something doesn't work out, you're not walking around jaded. You're not walking around mad at the world because you say, okay, you know what? It didn't work out with that individual, but I know there are good individuals from that segment of society because I have one in my corner. And a lot of us as people, just like our diets, we like balance. So we either all one way, all another. We really get enough to keep us centered and focused and balanced as humans. So we don't think everything's too bad. We don't think everything's too good. We right there because people often ask me, "Am I happy?" And my response is, I say no. They say, "What do you mean?" I say, "I never use the term happiness to describe myself. I say I'm always looking for contentment because happiness is fleeting. You're happy one day, you're sad the next day because something. I'm looking for contentment. I'm looking to always stay content with what it is that I have, and more importantly, what it is that I don't have."
Or
And
just
people,
being at peace.
yeah,
Level of peace. Like people take the word peace lightly. Like
mm-mm.
being at peace is like it supersedes happiness, it supersedes contentment, it supersedes pleasure, it supersedes connection. Being at Thank you so much today. Like I love hearing that because sometimes I feel like, whoa, why did I do this? Why did I move all the way 1,400 miles? But like seriously, the level of peace that I have felt just being here, and not that my life was total chaos in Buffalo. That wasn't the
Mhm.
case. But I think that after going through my divorce, I was struggling trying to find my being, trying to find my existence, trying to figure me out again. And I was struggling because it was so much familiar stuff that me and my ex
Yeah.
often did.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was like, dang, every time I would go to a certain store, ooh, this is where we used to go for Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is the restaurant we used to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was
Now you've been a
struggling in that.
trailblazer.
Right. I was struggling in that area. And every time I struggled, as much as my career was going this way, I was still like right here because I was still stuck on the familiar. You know what I'm saying? But when I got here and I landed here and I realized, yo, this is my home now. You know what I'm saying? I did all of this and not taking no credit from God, but I did all of this myself. It wasn't like I had a man saying, okay, I got the house, I got this, I got this, I got this. So that's why certain female friends don't understand when I say I'm grown now. I'm a big girl now because I didn't have opening the door for me anymore. You know what I'm saying? I had to go and be like, okay, Netta, you got to do this. Yeah, you got to do this. You know
The
what I'm saying?
training wheels came. The training wheels are all for real.
Ain't
Yeah.
nobody take them off. They fell off. Like
You're
you
setting the
know what I'm
pathway for many. A lot of you
Yeah.
setting the pathway for many. A lot of other
Yeah.
people that you're connected with, they're gonna make a move, and they're not gonna
Yeah.
be afraid. They're gonna look to you for guidance on how to do it.
Yeah. Honestly, and that's how a lot of that stuff happens. It's funny. I've had people ask me about running for public office. And I tell them, I say, look, the first thing you have to do is you have to be committed to it, just like you were committed to the move. Anything you want to do, you got to be committed to it, and you have to be committed to it mentally. Because you could talk about being physically committed to doing something, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, that's not going to win the day. The mental commitment is where it starts. Anything you do or anybody does, you have to mentally see yourself in that position. It's like KRS said on an album. I can't remember what song it was. And this is years ago. He said, "Visualize wealth and put yourself in the picture." You got to visualize that success and have to see yourself standing at the pinnacle of that success. Otherwise, it's just a pipe dream.
Yeah, and in this period, like when you look at happiness, a lot of people, they look at it, but they don't look at the totality of the whole thing about happiness. There's certain things, as y'all said, like it's all about contentment, but some people still on that level of just wanting to, they just want day to day happiness when and really they probably just want peace. But again, like I said before, when you continue to connect yourself with the same individuals over and over, they're gonna break down the little zone you had of peace and happiness. They're gonna break down. That's why as I got older, I don't care to I don't care to engage in conversation with too many individuals, especially if it's the same old shit over and over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to act funny. And a lot of people, oh, you think you better? I don't give a. If that's what you excuse my language. That's what you freaking think. Then that's your problem. But it just means that nobody don't have time for that. Like people work jobs and they deal with other people's stress levels. And when they have free time, they just want to be at. They want to be. You want to be at peace, so you don't want to hear all the same stuff from the same individuals um, that's been dealing with the same person year after year after year after year, and they've been dumping on you. Well, that probably lasts until 20s. Some people maybe mid 30s, but best believe when you start getting your late 30s, 40s, you're gonna have to find someone else to dump on
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're gonna be exhausted from that. So, and I hit that stage probably in my 30s, late 30s. Like, yeah, I don't even want to. I can't even. Like, I would come to Niagara Falls, and people were like, man, you was in town. I was like, yeah, I thought I seen your car at your mother's house. Why you ain't let nobody know? I just didn't want to didn't want to
Hit it
win on that
out.
level. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I, I feel you.
just wanted to be around people that
No, you
brought
gotta
laughter
tell
and
me that.
happiness.
My
Huh?
mom is reckless. People say that to me. I be like, cause I've outgrown
You said because you what? Say that
you. Cause
again.
I've
Oh, you
I've
outgrowing? Okay.
outgrown you.
Black, 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 black.
Yeah,
I told you better wear the vest because she's shooting their heads tonight.
yeah.
No, like I told somebody that before I left. Like, I was like real blunt at my going away thing. Like, yo, I've learned that if I could walk away from a 30-year marriage and have to deal with the pain of that, knowing somebody 4, 5, 6, 10 years and have to walk away because the toxicity that you put out in the atmosphere is not conducive to what I want to deal with.
Yeah.
And I have to be okay with it within myself. I can't keep fighting to keep my peace, but I'm allowing you to interrupt it.
Right.
That's an oxymoron. So you got to get to a place that I don't stop. Like I said, I'm not going to stop loving you, but I know I have to love you from this place, because if I love you from this place, it's going to interrupt how I'm going to love you. So I got to keep you at arm's length because your mindset is not healthy, and I'm trying to maintain my health.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like you said, the key word interruption. When you're developing yourself, unless you reach that pinnacle that you want to reach, until you reach that pinnacle, when you reach that pinnacle, that's when you'll probably be able to go back and say, listen, this is what's going on for me. I know you probably think I haven't been a good friend or whatever the case is, but I was locked in on what I had to do. Then you may be able to get more time. But when you still trying to evolve and somebody keep pushing you, and throwing you off that line, you're gonna you're gonna hit an impasse over and over and over. So that's how that is.
Yeah. You get. I mean, I hope everybody gets to a point in their respective lives where they don't tolerate BS from anyone, because that's what's going to allow you to get to a level where you're aware that it is. Because I certainly don't tolerate no nonsense. I tell people my scalpel game is so nice that when they do surgeries, they looking for me. I cut people off in a heartbeat. I don't give a damn what the reason is. Bye.
Anetta, what part of Texas you in?
I'm in Fort Worth, which is like 30 minutes from Dallas.
North, correct?
And,
Fort Worth is north of Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
and where's DeSoto?
DeSoto is like 41 minutes away from me.
Okay.
I drive there like twice a week.
I just know my cousin that we were connected from in Milwaukee. I've been seeing him like 2-3 times, and he lives in Texas. Actually, my sister and my cousin going down. Put them headphones in. I hate that echo.
You ain't gonna be dictating what I'm doing here.
Say por favor next time.
No, the reason I asked because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to go down there. My sister, they're going down there at the end of the month. So watch, I'm gonna pull up on you. You'll be like, oh my God. I'm gonna be in that area.
I ain't gonna say, oh my God, I'm be like, yo, what's up? What we eating? Crab legs, fish, what we eat, bro?
Yeah, you got your man, I will say this about where you are. You have your choice of cuisine, boy.
Yo, but Herb, listen, I'm gonna say this though. It's mad Mexican. I don't want to sound racist. Y'all know y'all can't be on here messing with me because y'all know I just say there's so many Mexican restaurants. No, I haven't tried none. One, because the older I've gotten, I can't do a lot of red and spicy food, or I'm gonna be up all night running with the cows and the pigs and the horses. So it's mad like Mexican spot,
Mhm.
taco spot. I'm like, yo, is this all y'all eat down here?
You should be aside from the Mexican cuisine. You should be able to get soul food down there. You're too far south of Missouri to get the barbecue. That's where
No,
Christina. You
dude.
must
I mean, Herb, listen to what I'm trying to tell you. It's not a lot of soul food restaurants.
really.
And on top of that, it's I don't try three. Two of them is good. The other thing is they don't cook their barbecue like we cook our barbecue.
That's what I was saying. You might have to take a junket
They
to go up to see
smoke,
Christine
they smoke their barbecue, and that don't always taste like it's cooked all the way.
because it isn't. You have
How
to.
you feel?
The thing about smoked meat is they're more about the flavor, and they cook it so it gets that flavor, so it's not always done to the bone. So you'll get it medium, kind of medium to medium rare.
That ain't gonna work.
That ain't gonna work for me. Cause when I say I'm not a big rib eater, but I had to taste because I kept smelling it. I was
Yeah.
like, ugh. That didn't do nothing for me. I was like, and mind you, I don't like food on the grill, but if I'm gonna have something
Ooh.
today, give me the real deal. Don't be playing with my taste buds.
I was gonna say, you know what your best bet might be is
Cooking
to
it
get.
myself.
Well, yes, I was gonna say get the barbecue sauce and get your grilled chicken breast or your chicken breast and make it happen.
I've been cooking my own food. I cooked some greens and cabbage with my neck bones and stuff. My homemade macaroni and cheese took it to work. They was going nuts. They was like, "You need to open your restaurant." I was like, "I ain't open no restaurant because y'all know opening your restaurant, you work 24/7. You don't get no
Yeah,
days off. I like the vacation,
yeah.
you
It's a
know."
lot of work.
It is, and but it's like people here, they was like, "Oh, are you gonna bake while you here?" I am, but I'm gonna do it at my own time. But it's
Right.
not like now. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of restaurants here. It's a lot. They everywhere. Okay, but the food is not like Buffalo.
No, and I'll tell you why. They use different seasonings, and I know that sounds simplistic to a lot of people, but the way you season your meat and how long you do it goes a long way towards determining how it's going to taste. You got some that'll soak their meat in brine. I know some places up here they'll soak their meat in Italian dressing. I use a variety of things myself. You got some that won't actually season their meat for too long. They'll season it on the grill.
Hmm.
Um, I've grown now to like coriander on my food, so now I'm heavy in the coriander, and I'll use that, and I'll use whatever I feel like pulling out my cabinet. I'll season that, but I don't marinate my meat. I just like the fresh taste of things on the grill. Now I use a form the grill, so I'll take a what's the name, and I'll cover the meat, season it, and grill it, and I'm good there. I don't need it to be all the way through.
Yeah, just the whole chefs. All right, we got one more point talking about. We're gonna get through it. So, Annette, I need to put them damn headphones in. So, who tries to overtalk each other more, men or women? Or do you see this as a problem? Or basically, who talks more, men or women? And in the introduction, I said that prior, I always threw out that women speak 20,000 words a day, men speak 7,000 words. But after going through doing research, I found out men talk more than women. So So what's good with that? What is good with men running their mouth, just talking to be talking? JBTing, just be talking. What's up with that, fellas? I don't understand it because I'm a man of few words, and usually they're profound. But just to be talking, somebody got to explain that to me. But this is what research is saying that men run their mouth more than women. They talk too much.
I think, and let me preface this with the changing way boys are being educated, they're being pushed to express their feelings as opposed to just actually speak factually. And I think you see a changing demographic with men under the age of 35 where that's becoming more prevalent. So as opposed to actually having a conversation with a post-adolescent in their early to mid 20s, you sitting there, you saying, why do you remind me of your mother? You sit up here, I just want the story. I don't want how it started or what you think might happen. Just give me the facts. I don't need all that other stuff. I don't need the floral presentation, the potpourri, the perfume. Just the facts.
Mm. Yeah.
It's both ways though, because I'm a talker. I talk all day, every day. But I'm also a person that when I shut down, I shut down. And I don't want to hear my voice and nobody else's voice. I think that women, we talk more because we're emotionally based. So we speak more out of our emotions, where men, y'all speak 85% of the time in rational process.
Mhm.
Speak sometimes very irrational, very emotionally based and sensitive things. So that's why it comes off that we talk more, because we're more loquacious when we're speaking, versus men are like, yo, I said I was going to take the garbage out at 6 o'clock, but I asked you to take it out this morning. But if I said I was going to do it at 6, then it's going to happen at 6. Well, why are we waiting till 6 o'clock when you know the garbage is sitting here and it needs to be out? This is how the conversation is generated. Y'all more like direct. This is it. Why we elaborating anymore? And prime example is when a woman say, "When you get home, we need to talk." You like, oh heck. So when you hear a woman say, "We need to talk," just know that you need to put aside 2 or 3 hours.
That's probably the worst text message or whatever voice message to leave.
It is, because you already know she don't like her perception, her factual, her knowledge of the current situation, her input from all her friends. All of that is coming up, and it's going to be in segments.
See, that's a football game.
I probably should be telling y'all this. I'm breaking a woman's code or something.
I wonder it's the reverse. If a guy says to a woman, "Oh, when you get home, we need to talk." I wonder what impact would they have on a woman.
Yo, if a man tell you that we need to talk, he don't thought it out and he about to apply some action. Okay? That's because he don't say, "Yo, we need to talk. I'm up out of this joint."
Yeah, that got to be a scary message.
That's real for real. Like,
Because a man probably could weasel his way out of that from a woman. We need to talk. He might, but if a man say, "Oh, when you get home, we need to talk."
I had that situation happen to me. The guy I was dating, he was like, "How is your day going?" I was like, "It's going good." He was like, "How you feeling today?" I was like, "I feel great." He was like, "So when you get home, I want to stop by so we can talk." I was like, "What the thing?" I was like, "So what's the topic?" He was like, "We'll talk in person." Man,
Yeah, but
like, oh my God. And because I'm not emotionally geared like that, I was like, man, if this dude is emotional, boy, he about to see a whole new side of me.
Yeah, your ass had the bubble
So when I
guts
got
at work.
home, I called like, hey, I'm home. What you say, Dad?
I said you had the bubble guts at work.
Right, right. I got home and I was like, hey, I'm home. He was like, oh, I'm right around the corner. I was like, hey, he's right around the
Mm.
corner? So when he came in, he was like, yo, yeah, I really care about you a lot. And I was like, whoa. I was like, what's up? I just feel like our relationship should move to the next level. I said, I don't believe in levels.
Mm.
I don't believe I think everything should be organic. So you asking something from me and I'm not ready to give it to you, it makes me uncomfortable.
So,
And you know, he walked away. He was like, yeah, I can't do this with you.
mm,
And I had to respect that. He got married this summer though.
that's what he's looking for.
mm, yeah, he put it out there.
I wasn't the lucky candidate. I wasn't ready for that. That's
Was
why
I'm a firm proponent of moving at your own pace, though. There's no need to put yourself in a situation that you're gonna
wait,
regret.
I gotta wash clothes. I gotta cook. I gotta iron your shirt. I gotta cook on demand. Like I can't just be like, I'm cooking enough food for 3 or 4 days. I gotta cook you something because you can't eat leftovers over and over again. I gotta wash clothes. So when you put something down in the house, I gotta pick it up, wipe down the table. See here,
yeah.
I just clean up and it's good.
Where did these standards come from, or whatever the case is? Leftovers, watch go. You do whatever you do, whatever. Like I think that's the problem. People try to go by somebody they heard say that shit. You do whatever works in your household.
Honestly, that's my perspective on that.
Like,
Yeah, but some of these men like that factor of the whole you cooking and you this and this and that. I'm not that girl no more. My kids are grown. I did the salad make your home nice. I did that. Now I might come home from work and grab me a salad and eat it for 2 days. You know what I'm saying?
but on the other end, be prepared for that too. When you were like, babe, so what we having for dinner? You're like, I already ate at work. I ate. I had a late, I ate late, or
Late lunch, yeah.
somebody else, or that work wife brought him dinner. Then what?
Right there gonna cause that's gonna cause you to have your neck.
He ain't got to check. He don't have to tell. He could just say, I had a late lunch or whatever. I'm good." So now you sitting around ass hungry, was waiting on him. Oh, I already, cause she don't cook and she don't do this, whatever. Shit, I take care of that.
Okay.
Just saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just saying.
Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Whatever.
Just saying, like, it's gonna be somebody like, he might have blurted. I say, because women be nosy. Like, say, what you gonna eat for dinner? I don't fucking know, whatever. That like, and if a guy say, man, my wife, she don't really cook like that. She don't. Oh, I got it. Oh my God. Like, well, I'm gonna bring you this in, or I'm gonna bring you that in. And he might be sitting back in his chair in his office like a king. You come back, you looking for something, got the menu, the local menu in your head. Babe, what we gonna get to eat? Oh, I'm good. Sooner or later, you're gonna have some issues with that. You better start pulling out the pots and pans.
But you gotta make sure you don't do something that you're not consistent about. Like, for example, I'm always being so transparent about my life.
Mm.
So, me being here by myself, my sorority had something this weekend, and so I met the photography guy, and I was like, "Yo, I just moved here. I got to set up my kitchen table, my patio set, whatever. Can you come do that?" He's like, "Sure, no problem." When he came yesterday, couple hours. Are you hungry? You want something to eat? Want some water or whatever? He like, sure. So he eat. He like, are you gonna sit down and eat with me? I'm like, sure. If you want me to, I mean, we just sitting at the table eating. So I sat and ate with him, but he turned and was like, yo, this is pretty intimate. I said, maybe my intimate radar is off or something because in my head, I'm thinking you here doing a job for me, and I'm just offering you some food.
Again, that was one of the moments. Like I said, I don't say that. I seen it, and I was like, "Fuck, she cooking for like that 2 cents a day." But I was like, okay. I just sit back and what. You might say David a lurker or whatever, but I just stroll through and see stuff. No, I did see that. I did see that, but I was like, okay.
And I'm like, okay. I said, do you want to take some food home? Because I weigh more than enough food. He's like, yeah, your food is really good. I'm like, okay. I packed him up some stuff to take home. And he's like, yo, you want me to take this home? Like, this is a really good. I'm like, yeah, that's, disposable. You can throw it out. You don't got to bring it back.
Yeah. Me and Herb know how this go in. We know how this go in. How it's going in? You know, I like to tell scenarios, whatever the case. It's gonna be something that you're gonna cook. And you were like, just relaxing, like, you're gonna be watching a movie or something. Like, well, you can sit down, take a break. Next thing you know, it's gonna be some spooning. Watching a movie, your head start to nod on his bird chest. And there you have it.
So petty.
I am. I'm gonna admit that I am.
Petty.
Huh? What you say?
You petty.
Yeah, I am. But no, seriously, I was joking. But sometimes that's how people come up.
I mean, hey, if you can, there's nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with the finesse game. Sometimes you gotta learn with the finesse situation.
I'm not dating for 6 months while I'm here.
You said you're not dating 6 months?
That don't mean you're not fielding offers.
Because he got a foot in. So now, I mean, what's his situation? Is he married? Does he have someone?
No, he's not married. He was very forthcoming to tell me he was single.
Oh, okay. So now he then went back and told his boys, like, man, you know that old girl from Buffalo, whatever. Damn, man, she can cook. She made you all that, man. Shit. Man, you better call her and see what she need to fix it. Like, man, I went there, I had leftovers and all. Like, dude, like, man, I was stuffed like a pilgrim. Huh?
I didn't make dinner for him.
See, this is the insight into the male psyche. He doesn't view it that way.
Yeah, he's gonna tell his people that you made dinner for him.
Because that's how he sees it.
Because he's like, why would she make all that food for it's just her here?
I was honest with him. I was like, yo, this is how I cook. Like, I don't know how to cook.
Oh, look who's coming in. Where has she been? I'm about to roast her ass when I click over here.
Don't talk about me. I have school.
I know what's going on, Sean. Let's see how you doing.
Nothing much struggling in life. Okay.
I can imagine.
I have school every day, Monday through Thursday, 5:30 to 10:30 after work.
Oh, burning the candle at both ends.
That's a lot.
Burning the candle at.
Yep.
I'm glad you came on because I gotta leave y'all. My phone has been blowing up. I gotta return phone calls
It's him.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
him.
How
Yeah, whoever she had
ironic.
that little dinner date with.
Yeah, how ironic, because we was about to get deep. How ironic. See, the difference between you and Netta, I know you coming back next week, so this shit ain't over with. You know it ain't over. You know, Petty, it ain't over with. You know, it ain't over with.
It's not him. It's not him.
No, I didn't say it was him.
Herb, stop being petty like David.
Hey, you're not the only one to do background checks. Hey, cookies. I would just say cookies.
I gotta return. I literally got like 6 phone calls from this year.
All right,
So
be
I gotta
good, be
return
safe.
phone calls.
You know, we following you, seeing your moves, whatever.
watch those rolling brownouts.
Oh Lord.
Well, you know it's 10:05 here. It's 11:05 where y'all at. So
Yeah.
you saying I gotta return the calls before it gets too late because our time is different.
Yeah,
It's already late. Go ahead, nightcap call.
Trying to see throwing darts. Dang.
Y'all real petty tonight. But I'll see y'all next week.
All right.
Have a
be
good
safe.
night.
All right.
Go put that cat outside with the other little cat.
Oh my gosh.
That cat freaks me out. Okay, bye, y'all.
Be good. Oh man, that was funny.
Yeah, it was.
So we gotta get at you. I know you've been doing your thing, working, school. So you stressed out, huh? How much longer
I'm
you
not
got left?
necessarily stressed. The hot girl summer has been canceled though. I don't even know why I did this. I can't go nowhere or do nothing.
I mean, I guess the thing is, sometimes you gotta put. I know it's kind of hard to say that, put stuff off, and in the way the world is right now, you never know. But you're on a good path, so you have your time
Right.
to do all. You have your
Yep,
time.
what's meant to be will be there when it's all done.
So right now,
And I'll have
so-
more money to do it. So
yeah. So
that's
just.
okay.
And the thing about it is, shit, the summer almost over. It just flew by.
I know, it's so crazy. It just disappeared.
So you're on the right path, doing what you got to do. You know, we just messed with you because you hadn't been on here in a few weeks, whatever. So
I know. I'm like every Monday. I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can catch. I'm gonna see if I can catch them. And it's crazy because my professor on Monday nights, she keeps us to the bitter end. We be getting out of class at 10:26. Every other day of the week, I be home at like 9:45 sometimes, and nope, she don't play.
it's funny because most. So you working on your masters?
Yes.
It's funny because some of those teachers they be understanding, most professors like that, and so they be trying to get out of it themselves, whatever. Like I know
No,
y'all
I have the senior
grown.
citizens. They don't got nothing else to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh?
So when does school end for the summer?
It doesn't. So I'm taking an accelerated course. So I'll actually be done in a year versus 2 years. And it does not stop. Like we have tests every week, quizzes every day. Like it's fast. It's fast. So for every one semester we're having, so where we would have one class. So my one class is about to end and I'm taking another class. So the semester, how am I explaining this? Basically it's 2 classes per semester. They're all accelerated, 5 weeks and 5 weeks to make a 10-week semester.
So eventually, like summer school courses.
Yeah, well, ish, because it goes all throughout next year, so it's not gonna stop. It's just
Well, no, I'm just saying in terms of being condensed.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So how has that impacted like far as the kids and stuff? They in summer
Oh, they with
camp.
their daddy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
They
so
is
you
with
try
their
to.
pappy.
Mm,
My baby got braces.
mm. I seen that post you had did when you said something about brunch and her outfit. She said she put on her
Oh,
brunch outfit.
not
You,
yet. That she got 2 front teeth coming out again, and
uh,
then the
Hmm.
oldest one, he had to get he has his first set of braces, and of course he's young for braces, but my man's teeth all messed up, so he has to get this first set of braces to move some things around, and then he has to get two implants because 2 of his adult teeth don't exist.
mm,
How the hell is that?
I don't know. They said sometimes they see it most of the time in boys, their lateral
Oh
incisors
wow!
just don't grow in.
Wow.
Yup.
That's a speaking of TikTok, Dave. That's the second peculiar thing I've heard of in a week.
mm.
The last one I heard of was a woman being born, and I don't remember what the medical term is for, but a female was born with 2 sets of reproductive organs, if I can say that correctly. So
Mm,
yes, it is what it
interesting.
sounds like. It is what it sounds like. And when I first heard it, I was like, "What?"
Mm, interesting.
Yeah, side by side. Yes, I was floored when I heard it. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
But
I can't remember. Like I said, I can't remember the medical term, but yeah, it was, it was eye opening to say the least.
mm, yep. But my man's canines are right next to his front 2 teeth, so they got to pull those back.
Yeah,
Well,
They gonna pull those back,
whew.
and he's gonna get implants. And
well, that's good.
then once he gets the implants, he gonna get the real set of braces to
Well, it's
straighten it
good you
all out.
handling it because a lot of people go through a lot of psychological stuff with their teeth and stuff, whatever, with the ridicule and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's a
Oh
good thing
yeah,
you
yeah,
fixed it right
yeah.
now. That's important.
Absolutely. He don't. He really. I don't want to say he doesn't care. Because he does. He was excited to get them. So he definitely wanted his braces, but he's never really he's. I'll say this. I can't say he doesn't care. He's never expressed like feeling insecure or anything about his teeth. In
How old
fact,
is he?
he's 11.
Well, that might be because you probably keep them laced up in other areas, whatever. So
Yeah, I had to tell him about himself a couple of weeks ago too.
why he wanted you to
He's
buy?
definitely getting to that age where they realize.
Oh,
He
he
was
trying to
telling
want that
somebody, I'm not
expensive
that
stuff.
guy. He said something. What he say? I'm not the guy. I'm that guy. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy. I don't know what he said, but I just was like, boy, I will take every single thing in this room, and you'll be no guy. What you talking about?
Uh,
Had to bring him back on the earth.
yeah. So
That's
we
my PlayStation 5.
mm,
Okay.
he just got happy. He just got happened to get caught by mom hearing that,
Exactly.
but that ain't gonna stop him from talking that talk on a regular basis.
I just try. I do try to keep them humble because I know that can happen. But I what I will say is when I do go through his phone and look through his phone sometimes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud. Because sometimes I see him getting at people, but he'd be like, that's not cool, bro. Why would you make fun of him? That's not cool. I don't do bullies. No, we good. I don't do bullies. So don't talk to me. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
I
not
told you one
always.
time I saw on his phone, he was talking to this boy, and the boy was saying he was gay and all this other stuff. And I was just like, I asked him, I was like, Diane, do you like boys? He was like, no, but I'm not going to be friends with nobody that's making fun of somebody because he's gay. He's been our friend the whole year. Now, all of a sudden, because he's gay, he can't be our friend. And I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
He's developing the conscience at a young age. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Which I don't know how.
They're a little more advanced than we were back in those in the days, and that's
Very.
because of exposure. Because some of that stuff we wouldn't have went for, like, oh hell no, but
Right.
there's so much stuff that they see and have access to that we didn't have. So
right, because I'm like, how is he
response.
establishing, or even I just don't and I get you feel how you feel, but Beans, relax. It's the guard dog. Somebody probably walking on a public sidewalk that he don't want them to walk on.
Need to put Beans with a Herb cat. They both out of control.
Oh, my cat's Shadow, Chip Paws, and Lucky.
Oh wow, it's a lot of them. But yeah, I don't know how you establish coming out at 11. That's just weird to me. Not weird. It's just this. It's a bit young. I mean, feel how you feel. It's whatever. I don't care. But just the conversation that they were even having was, I was proud that he wasn't being a follower and that he wasn't playing the, oh, he's gay, I'm scared of him, I can't talk to him kind of thing. I'm glad he didn't do that. But also, I'm just like, dang, y'all, quote unquote, coming out and like, y'all don't even need to be worried about boys or girls.
Well, that's the way they're pushing the youth, and I don't necessarily know if it's necessarily a good or a bad thing, but that's just the way it is. It's a method of empowering, and the only problem that I can foresee with that is if that child has a parent who can't direct them in a good way. Because just imagine if you have a child who's socially adept enough to be able to navigate certain fields, but that parent isn't. It's going to create conflict.
Right. See, and I think that's the bigger issue, to push something a certain way without knowing how everybody else. You just can't start pushing something and not knowing that the parents in the generation before, that wasn't a part of their value system. So this is where that's why it's always conflict. Because they just do stuff, whatever, and not thinking like how the hell, like these people who make these laws and they don't even say to themselves, damn, my father, my mother, my grandparents, they wouldn't have went for this, but they just put stuff out there. I don't even know the answers for all the stuff that goes on, the pronouns and all of this stuff. It's
a bit much. Like I get you want to feel how you want to feel, and I get it all, but at the same time, we're doing a bit much with my 5-year-old doesn't have to identify. Like, girl, that baby did not say anything about identifying as a boy and a girl. If your daughter wants a fire truck, she wants to play with a fire truck, and that's absolutely fine. That does not mean that she can no longer have a pronoun. Like it's just too much. It's just too much to it. And I get people being who they want to be, being free, etc. But it's like we're pushing a narrative. Like, why does Sesame Place characters have to be gay now? Like, they never were. So leave it at that. Elmo and I don't know who they put. Bert and Ernie are now in a couple or something.
I always thought they was gay even when I was younger, but I'm just joking. I didn't even think about that stuff like that. But as you got older, when that stuff started coming out, you're like, well, I guess so. But
yeah, but it's like why are we even worried about Sesame Place? Is about ABCs and communication and life skills as children. Why are we worried about their relationship status? That we shouldn't even be teaching kids that.
Yeah, that's what it originally was for. Little puppets and all that stuff playing out to teach them.
Like, why do they have to be gay? It's not even part of the storyline.
I don't know. I can actually say this. There are some things that I'm on the periphery of, and
These are things that I'm on the periphery of. So I just sit back and I listen, and I'm like you guys. I wonder why, and I don't even try and get to an answer. I just sit back and it's like you said, David, earlier. This isn't anything that I recall having to deal with as a kid, or my parents had to recall deal with as a kid, or teachers or administrators. It's just like they've taken what was normal for us and made it abnormal. So
Right.
you have to take kids for the most part who were considered normal, and now you have to pull them aside and say, look, there's nothing wrong with you. And then they wonder why they have a demographic of kids who can't function. And then they grow up to be, and I don't want to use that term on this platform. They grow up to be a little more volatile than what previous generations were. Because if you look at all the active shooter situations we have, they fit a very specific profile. They fit a very specific age.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure if they did psych evaluations and they worked backwards from where they are now to their childhood to everything in between, they will come out with some very interesting information.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, that's where we at with in this day and age with like there's so many different variables, and you just want your child to. I mean, yeah, I don't even know to say normal, whatever, because we don't even know what normal is. But
Yeah.
you just want them to be safe. You want them to be comfortable. You don't want them
Exactly.
to be.
Safe,
You don't want
happy,
them to
and
be
comfortable.
sad. Yeah, you don't want them to be sad.
Right.
And that's the thing that it's probably a lot of kids that's really sad, and their parents probably don't check in with them or whatever the case is, and then you have stuff that happen. And I'm not talking about the school shootings, just overall that lead to like drugs, alcohol, or
Yeah.
promiscuous sexually and stuff like that. So it's a lot that goes on.
And people don't realize it's so important to just simply tap in with your kids. I lit on Friday night. My aunt met the kid's dad halfway to bring the kids here for the weekend, and I came downstairs to make some popcorn, and I was going to come back upstairs to get back into bed. I thought everybody was asleep, and Zion came out in the living room, and we literally, it was probably like 12 o'clock. We did not go back to bed until maybe 3:58, and we were just sitting there talking about nothing. I mean, we weren't even we just ended up talking about one thing and it led to another. Then we was Googling stuff and we was looking stuff up. And it was just us tapping into each other. He sat at the table, we was sitting there talking, and I was like, "Fine, it is 4 o'clock in the morning." He was like, "Yeah, I'm going to bed." I was like, "Me too." And we was just talking, and I don't know if it was something that, like he needed to talk and he was waiting for his little sister to go to sleep. But we didn't talk about nothing in particular. It wasn't like, oh, something's bothering me. He was just sitting there chatting away.
That's good. That just shows that you
Right.
have connection. 'Cause he could have just said, "I'm gonna go in my room, play this game, or be on my phone."
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. He needed that time with his mother just to hang out, especially if you've
Right.
been in school and he's been with his dad, which is probably a different regime, and he probably needed that little nurturing or just that closeness with his mom. Like, yeah, I need to
Right.
hang out with my mom, Dukes, and chill. And that's
Exactly. Yep. Just to tap in.
and it happens, and it's real, man. Whew. We not gonna beat a dead horse. And I know Shaughnessy, I know you grinding, and we always appreciate when you come on because you bring a different
I'm
insight. So the last couple of weeks we just been going through little adjustment stages here and there. People pop in, pop out, but we rolling with it.
You should check out last week's show.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch it. I am gonna
So,
watch it.
like I
I
said,
am.
we gonna get out of here. And I didn't even know. I guess they got some of the preliminary elections, and like I didn't even know I didn't have work tomorrow until like this morning when I was getting ready for work. Had the calendar thing, the BCPS calendar thing popped up, like all schools are closed due to preliminary elections, and I'm like, oh shit, they gave me an extra pep in my step, whatever. I ain't got work
Oh,
on, oh
I don't
Tuesday,
gotta be here
whatever. Like,
tomorrow.
yeah, so that was a good thing, but I didn't know anything about that, and I'm like, whatever. Like, but it doesn't shock me, whatever. Like the stuff that goes on, like I look at it now, like stuff like day to day, like
Right.
day to day. You try to plan, but you just never know what the hell is going on. But I'm like, oh, I'll take
Exactly.
it. I'll take it. But we gonna get out of here because we pretty much covered the. We started off with the impact of TikTok and all the social media stuff. How has it impacted your life? Then we talked about the happiness. Um, is it your man's responsibility to make women happy? And then we closed out with who talks more, men or women? And we were saying that lately, research always said that women talk more than men, but when I was doing research, it was saying men talk more than women. It make a lot
Mm.
of sense. It's a lot of talking ass men now.
What are we talking, like conversational pieces or gossiping?
Well, I think it's different. I think it's different sectors that they use. Like at certain things, they were saying that like if a man has more status, feel like he has more status than a woman, he's gonna talk more. He's gonna be the voice. If he doesn't feel he has more status, then you have those guys that, and it's a known that women, they're the boss. They kind of run things because he like, shit, I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet. But like in meetings at work, if it's a bunch of you know, a bunch like 6 or 7, 8 people in there, they say usually guys talk more in those meetings and stuff like that. So it's different variables, whatever. Me, I always try to put a different spin
Gotcha.
on it, like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that be doing a lot of talking.
Well, I guess that's good. We want men to talk more, voice their opinions and feelings, right?
Yeah.
No,
You said
no,
no, Herb.
no. I
I
don't need to hear
thought we.
about feelings. I don't need to hear about feelings from men.
Mm.
Huh?
I don't need to be here. I don't need to hear about feelings from men.
Was she
Why
saying that for
not?
what?
So what about you and your boys? Like, cause is that not a good thing? Is that isn't that, I don't want to say, I don't know what's the best
No,
way to
I,
explain it. I mean, guys tend to hold on to a lot because they are not as open and don't have as many conversations.
I'll tell you what kind of guys hold on to things. Guys who repress
Yes.
their feelings when they don't need to. In other words, take a man that's in a relationship and he's being dominated by his female because he doesn't. That's a man who's repressing, and that doesn't mean he needs to sit there and wax poetically. That just simply means he needs to actually open his mouth and speak that hell up. It doesn't require him to sit there for 2.5 minutes and go on about how he's being a mess. He just needs to say, "Hey, yo, look, that ain't how this is going. I don't know who you think you are, but I'm me. This is what I want. This is what I need. And if you can't deliver it, then I'm out."
Hmm.
Men perform better across any divide when they act. Men are not supposed to be creatures who speak. Men are supposed to be creatures who act. Let me put it to you like this. Take two
I
guys.
agree with that statement.
Oh, okay.
I just told somebody stop talking me to death.
well, and I think like it when you was asking Shaughnessy about a group, your boys and all that stuff. I would hope that you would get to a point at a certain age that you would feel comfortable being able to share with your boys if you were going through something. But see, that depends on the emotional intelligence of your friends. That if
Right.
you put something out there, like you're not going to be ridiculed or chastised for it. And I think a lot of a lot a lot of times that's the struggle with guys because they don't have a safe space to
Right.
talk to people like that. So then they keep everything in. If you have friends that say, "Yo, it's all good," like if you struggling with that, we here to help you. Most of the time, that's not the case. Whatever. What remind me of that part in this a movie, whatever, like like the Best Man Holiday and all this stuff when Harper was struggling financially, but he had boys that had money, uh, but he couldn't bring himself to tell them. And when they found out, they were like, or even what's his name, El Boogie, whatever, when his wife was had cancer, he was trying to keep that in, but they kind of came together once those
Right.
issues were put out there. And every time I watch this stuff, I'm like, if that was the real world, if people were open and honest like that. See, females have more outlets and platforms like that to do that, but
Right.
guys
And create more
don't.
support.
Whatever. So that's always the issue because they're gonna say, "Man, I mean, you act like a bitch" or whatever the case is, and nobody gonna be trying to hear that stuff. So you keep all that stuff pent in, and that's the struggle.
Yep. And I feel like that also, I think that would, it creates more positivity amongst men too, because you may be, as a man, you may be doing something that you think is correct, or that you may have seen your dad do, or somebody else. And it's not that you don't have a positive influence or a positive set of friends, but your set of friends may not know that you're acting in this manner. So once you start voicing things to them, they can kind of give you advice or steer you in the correct way to help you through some things. And I think that would do, if men open up more to their friends, I think it would do a lot for our male society today.
Well, the only problem you're gonna have with that is for men to open up to their friends, they actually, and this is something we talked about earlier, they actually have to establish those relationships. And because you have a lot of people now that especially with the upheaval of the economy, they don't have time to establish those friendships because they're probably being moved from one place to another place to another. For me, I was fortunate, even though my younger development years were like that. I had enough family to where that didn't matter, so it was upset. So let's say you take a boy who's from a home with two kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's for him. He's in a neighborhood where he's either too old or too young. So he doesn't have the ability to develop those bonds. So when he gets to high school, he might be in a new place and he doesn't know anyone. What does he do?
I mean, I don't know. Contact your friends that
He doesn't have them. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was like.
Oh, because I guess it's a different time now, with you having friends and
you can't develop a rapport with somebody. For women, it's different. Women develop a rapport through speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Boys develop a rapport by doing. You can't rewire boys to make them behave like girls. It won't work. It's counterintuitive to us. So no matter what women want in terms of boys speaking, it's not going to work. Boys don't play football by talking. Boys play football by getting out there, putting on shoulder pads, putting pads in pants, and same thing. Same thing with basketball, football, any other sport. That's why you tend to find boys gravitate to those activities at a younger age because that's how they socialize within the group. No, women talk. That's what I said. I don't have time for men to talk. I have time for men that do. You see a bunch of men talking, And me, I'm going the other way. Don't
But
want
when
nothing.
you're doing, you're not really talking because, right? Because if you're playing basketball or if you guys meet up to, well, maybe shoot and pool, that's something you can have a conversation over shoot and pool.
Yeah, but at the basketball, you go out and have a couple beers and you talk. But the basketball is the common point where things start.
What you know what? And a lot of it is always the emphasis is on sports, but I think people need to develop, or guys, older guys need to develop programs to just say, man, me and my son, uh, you and your son, and different like that. Just do different activities
Yeah.
together without being sports related. It might be, sports might eventually become a part of it, but you might, got some vans or whatever, riding down somewhere, going camping, doing stuff like that. I think
right.
stuff like that will create better opportunities for closeness than just sports, because the emphasis is always going to be placed on sports. But what about the socialization aspect of just doing little things, little activities, whatever, that father and son, or might be an uncle and nephew, and developing programs like that, just hanging out with other guys and just doing different stuff. I think some of that need to be put in place
Right.
too.
Even if you, I think even if you, because I get it, like girls, females, we can, I can sit on the phone with one of my friends for 2 hours, whereas though a guy is more likely to go to the bar and hang with his boy. But even then, that's time for you to have that conversation, or, let off some steam and speak about your feelings and what you're dealing with at home, and how your wife is being a jerk this week, and you know actually being able to talk and release those feelings. I don't think you can do the same thing while playing basketball.
No, but well, it's very similar to what David was saying. It can be hiking, Boy Scouts, Big Brother, any number of things. What I'm simply saying is it has to be something where the first contact can't necessarily be a phone call. The first contact most men is going to be them getting out of doing something.
Interesting.
Because like I said, if you encounter a bunch of men and all they're doing is talking and all they ever do is talk, eventually the talking has to stop, because you're going to have to get out and do something. No woman is going to want to be around a man who perpetually talks and he doesn't do. That's the burden.
It depends on what you're talking about, though.
Give me a scenario, and I'll guarantee you that eventually he's going to have to stop talking and he's going to have to start doing it. Doesn't matter. You're not going to want to make that. Let me put it to you like this. Let's say you have an issue with the father of your children, and he tells you he's going to do this to rectify that, but never does.
Oh, I think that's a different kind of talking. I'm talking about emotions and feelings.
That's what I'm getting at. Is it doesn't matter what the situation is. Eventually, there's going to have to be some action to it. It reminds me of I misattributed to somebody or to a podcaster that it wasn't originally their statement. It was Manosphere Highlights Daily, and he said, "Women are human beings, men are human doings. Men get their value by doing. Think of any man in history. He's not noted for being a great speaker so much as he is for doing things. We talk about Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln. Look at any great man in history, Gandhi.
But what about your emotions and your feelings and how you are doing? mentally, and how everything that you are doing, because you may be doing a lot, right? You may have the business, you may have the kids, the wife, and the family. You may have these things that you're doing all of these things for, but eventually you get tired, and eventually you have to have that release. So in that moment, it doesn't have to necessarily be a do. It could just be, I'm tired. This is getting to me. This is getting to me. Or, and most times in those situations, the best person to kind of understand what you're talking about, or give you a give you advice in that situation, is another man.
I'm not saying that none of that isn't true. It is. Even with those things, men still have a burden to society. Let's look at it like this.
I agree.
Let's look at Robin Williams, who by any metric had everything going for him. What did he do?
Talking about Mork.
Yes.
Who was this?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's a little before your time. Just look up the individual named Robin Williams. Successful actor by any stretch of the imagination. Had everything a man could potentially want.
She know Miss
Mhm.
Doubtfire.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
him. He committed suicide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The burden that a man carries that only he can put down. When that man decides to put that burden down, and only he and he alone can do that, that's when all the other stuff comes into play. So his mental well-being, how he feels, he has to decide to step away from that game, if you will, and say, you know what, I need to focus on this aspect of life. Speaking of which, and I didn't really notice until I saw it yesterday morning at work. Derek Jeter, one of the most famous Yankees to ever play, and there's a lot of famous Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
When he played baseball, he did not have social media. None of it. No matter what somebody said to him, no matter what they said, he said no. He said, because I need to focus on baseball. That's what I mean. You only put on your plate what you're willing to eat. And some men don't understand that. Some men want to put everything on their plate, and then they realize it's overwhelming. Before you get to a point where you're overwhelmed, you have to simplify your things. Like me, for the last couple of months, and I know that they're going to kill me, I have only done two things: work, come home and go to bed. That's why my backyard looks like it does. That's why a lot of people haven't been able to get in contact with me. I just shut down and simplify my life, because I understand the pressure that I put myself in and under to do certain things to achieve like I want to. But in order to maintain my mental well-being, I have to shut that shit down.
Right.
The guys don't understand that. They think they have to live up to somebody else's expectations. The first thing I tell people is I have my own expectations, and nobody can place any expectations on me that are more loftier than what I place on myself. But you have to be able to rein that in. And if you can't rein that in, then ain't no amount of talking to any therapist, any psychologist, or any man gonna help you until you realize, hey, it's the old analogy. A professor in a college class fills a glass up halfway full of water and asks the student to come up and hold that glass. Student does. He says, is that glass getting heavy? He says, yes. He says, why not put it down? So they're not willing to do that.
And see, for me, one of the things is when like lately it's been a couple deaths in the family. So for me, connecting with family members and stuff that you haven't connected, that's been a lot to me. Like I'm like, okay, if it's in my possibility and somebody's having something and it's in good spirit, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there because that energy and just just to be around people and there's no arguments and everything is pleasant. It kind of rejuvenates you. So that's kind of been the path that I've been on because me, I can like shit. I can shut stuff down. I ain't got to be bothered with nobody or whatever the case is. But now I'm like, man, people is falling
Dropping.
off. Yeah,
Right.
quickly. And I just I don't want that to be the case. So if it's an opportunity, I want to try. I want to try to be a part of it. Now you can't make everything in certain situations with your work and all that stuff. It may not permit it, but if it's in my power and I could do it, then I want to be able to do it. Just to add more memories and sometimes just being around that, you just never know what opportunities can open up for you. Other words that you might have not never even known that your cousin was doing this or doing that or got this going on. So you got to, we got to open up ourselves to good opportunities other than funerals and stuff. Sad
Right.
time.
And you never know where I guess where you can find your strength. It may be your third cousin that you only saw at family reunions, and then now you see this cousin at the funeral, and y'all just so happen you got her number, so y'all can meet up at the same place or get the address, and now you guys are in constant contact, and she's helped you navigate through a hard space in your relationship, and you would have never known. And
Yeah.
same with men. My a friend of mine and my sister's husband, they met one time and now they best friends, which is so annoying. But now they best friends. They was in Chicago together. And it was just like, ew, that is disgusting. So now it's a whole bromance. Now, like, how did y'all plan a whole trip to Chicago to go watch an Orioles game? Like,
Yeah.
so
And
y'all
that's
in a
crazy.
relationship? Cool, fine.
And one of my cousins, when my uncle had passed and we went to Milwaukee, I hadn't seen them in like shit since I was probably like a teenager or something.
Mm-hmm.
But in this last since April in this last and what is it now? July. I've
Yep.
seen him like 4 times. Like
Right.
4 times, like
Exactly.
seen him in Milwaukee, then he was in Niagara Falls, then he drives trucks and he's been through Baltimore and he stopped here to see us the last 2 weekends.
Right.
And
See?
and it's been great. It's been great just hanging out
Right.
and schooling us on the truck driving and dispatching business. Like it was money in
Mm-hmm.
this. It's big
Yep.
money in this, whatever. Just hearing that, like, damn, let me reshift my thinking to say, like, how could I get a part of this money or whatever the case is. So it's been great, whatever. So
Yes, and they are making
yeah.
the best kind of friends for me right now.
Say that again. Who is
I
that?
said they the best kind of men for me right now.
That
Truck
was
drive.
what I spoke about
Yes,
earlier.
because
That 20 to 25-year relationship you have with men that's predicated on being friends and nothing else.
being friends, huh?
I was saying that women, as
Oh,
women, they should be able to call on a couple guys that they are friends with
mm-hmm.
because it shows a maturation process for them. It shows the ability that they can build rapport with people. We know that most women can build a rapport with a woman. It's a given. But can a woman build a rapport with a man that goes beyond sex?
Yeah, I feel like yeah, I guess. But see, with that though, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about truck drivers. They only around enough for you to miss them, and then by the time they get on your nerves, they going back on the road. So I think I
Oh,
found what kind of men I want.
Oh,
Truck
that's what you said. Okay. Okay.
truck driver.
Oh,
even so, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with having that type of rapport. The problem is, can the average woman sustain it? And a lot can't.
I thought it was the opposite. I really thought it was the opposite because I felt like I may have a genuine friendship with a male, and it always takes another male like, oh, he's not trying to be your friend. He wants something else, and then it has you have you looking sideways like, dang, is he not really my friend like I thought?
No, but that's the negotiation that women have to be able to engage in. Let's look at it like this. It's rare that a woman wants a man around that doesn't benefit her in some way. It's rare. Not blood relative. This is why you hear to talk about the friend zone. And as long as a man understands his place in a woman's life, he won't press for anything he knows he's not going to get. The question comes, can that woman maintain that relationship with him on based on those parameters without having to worry about anything? That's why I said the 20 to 25-year thing. I have female friends that can call me for something. If I got it, I'm there. There's nothing else. She ain't got to worry about it. I can come over her house. She could be and just hop out the shower. I'm not thinking about her. Because
Y'all was just laughing at me about this because I was telling y'all I do have male friends, and it's always other males. It's like, okay, if you think so.
Well, it's always those outsiders that's gonna say stuff. So Herbert had mentioned like, shut the hell up. Like you can't tell everything. Like if you're a guy and like, you've been chilling with Shaughnessy, whatever. If you go back and tell your friends, they're gonna be like, oh, so you've been hanging out with her. And she got out the shop. She walked through it. You, oh man, you crazy. And if you're able to just maintain that and keep it like, yo, it ain't nothing. We cool like that, whatever. But it's your peers that say stuff, whatever, that kind of could change, and depending on the level of the emotional intelligence that person has, but they could change the dynamics of the thoughts. Or she walked through with her towel on, whatever, man, she was asking and you ain't do nothing about it. That's the type of shit that guys say that could throw somebody off. Then you'll be like, damn, where that came from? Oh, now all of a sudden he aggressive trying to make moves toward me. But before we were just chilling, but that's where it may be coming from.
Yeah.
It literally and it's funny that you say that because one of my coworkers, and he didn't mean anything. He didn't mean anything by it, but it like everybody turned their heads and was like, "What?" But he was like, "You meeting me at the bar, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And everybody was just like, "Did they not know we were standing here? Did we miss something?" So everybody was staring, and I was like, at the bar where his wife is the bartender. Yes, I'm going to meet him and his wife at the bar. Like, Jesus Christ.
And you have a lot of. Go ahead, David.
We never know how people interpret stuff, whatever. And that's the thing. It's always a lot of misinterpretation.
Right.
That it was something simple, but they didn't know all the details and the facts. So they just assume like, oh, meeting at the bar, like, damn, they together, they hooking up.
Right. Yeah. And it was just like,
it
was like the whole room stopped. And I was just like, and he was like, no. Like, I'm like, yo, y'all crazy.
You have a lot of people who they're either jealous or they're envious that they don't have situations like that. A lot of people will. Imagine if you will.
Or that access. That I can see that.
Yeah. This is why a lot of guys, they dislike the good-looking guy, or what women consider the good-looking guy, dating females left and right. They say, man, if I was that good-looking dude, or I had money out there, I'd be running through these chicks just like a hot knife through butter. And they don't realize that the value in being that guy with access and looks is because you're selective. And being selective as a guy with those type of attributes, all that does is increase your desirability among the rank and file women. And I mentioned this earlier in the show. It's the old adage that he said in colors, as opposed to running down. He said, let's walk down. We walk down, we can have them all. Any guy that understands the subtleties of being wanted knows that he don't have to do a damn thing. All he got to do is post up. They don't come because they won't. They want his essence. They want to share in his essence. He might be terrible in bed, but they want to say that they had the ability to say that they were with him. That's the difference. That's the difference between somebody who's a player and somebody who's a ladies' man. A ladies' man is going to attract them all. A player got to go out there and work. That's the difference.
That's a good question. That's a good question for the Counselor's Corner. What's the difference between a player and a ladies' man? And see if they can handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely I can agree with that, because a player they be having a lie and that was a very good analogy, because a ladies' man, just like you say, he don't have to do anything. Y'all gonna do it for me. Y'all gonna show up for me.
Yeah, he's charismatic. Easy come, easy go. If a couple drop off, there's gonna always be somebody that
Right,
follow line,
exactly.
no matter what.
It's either you comply or on to the next.
Yeah.
Kevin Samuels used to say scarcity mentality, and it holds true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop that. I'm gonna drop that as soon as we get out of here. Like, what's the difference? And see how they respond. You're gonna always find some women and they both ain't, neither one of them ain't shit. It's gonna be somebody that responds like that.
But I mean, women do it too. Women do it too.
Yeah, some women know how to work it. And then there's some that just do too much to try to attract guys. But some women just naturally, you like, damn, the guys just want to be in their presence.
Right. So now you got a lawn guy, you got a guy for the car, and that's because they just wanted to do it.
It's funny because this is what we were talking. This is one of the first things I think we talked about was TikTok. You see it on TikTok. You have some females that are advertising and they're exuding nothing but sex.
Right.
And surprised when they get guys who just offer anything remotely close to it. Whereas I've come across 3 profiles. One woman plays the violin and the piano. Another woman plays an acoustic guitar, and I think there was another woman that played an instrument too. Those women, fully clothed, had about 150, 200 views. Whereas the female who was offering sex only had viewers. Only had 3 viewers.
Yeah.
That's a proof right there.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a proof right there.
I agree.
A lot going on, folks. All right, we're gonna have some closing comments. We gonna I ain't got nowhere to go tomorrow, but we gonna get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I'm off tonight. I'm back at it tomorrow.
Well, I will be up bright and early. I'll be out the house at 6:30 and will not return until 10:30.
Oh man.
Well, I do come in the house and I do change my clothes. I do change my clothes. I do walk my dog and let him out. But literally, I'm running, and school's only 10 minutes away from me, so I'm moving.
I bet you this. You saved a lot of money this summer. You ain't spend that much either.
I know it is correct, and that's another thing. I'm not able to. Not that I'm not able to, but because I'm so tired and I'm running, it's like no way I can drink wine or even imagine going to a bar or imagine having drinks, and I just feel like I'm loaded.
Hmm.
Like I feel like I am loaded.
That's that sacrifice, whatever. So once you get it, you'll be like, hey, I'm ready for any vacation. I'm ready for this because I didn't put in.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So anything, any closing comment or anything you want to say on what you added for the people, probably for people on the playback who watch it.
Nothing really. I
Okay.
don't have much.
That's all
I'm
right.
gonna see what next Monday brings.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. Herb, you got anything?
No, man. You know my closing. Growth and understanding the curves in the gray area. Godspeed. See you next time.
And for
Y'all
me-
have a good night.
All right. All right.
Night.
All right. We out. See you next time. Peace.